Welcome back, everybody, here to Call of Duty Challengers Elite for the final day of European Season number 2. My name is Infinity. I'll be casting today's action alongside Proper Mate. We've got a great game coming up. The Originals taking on Signs. Although I'll be candid with you guys at home. This match, it doesn't really matter that much. Andy, how you doing anyway, mate? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm always happy to watch some great European Call of Duty. Been in love with this scene ever since I got the first chance to be able to take a look at it back in the Modern Warfare year. It's been great to see these players and teams, personalities, and everything else in between just grow. But I mean, just to build off of what you just said, this match really doesn't matter at all. The real matchup that does matter is happening on the main broadcast, but it's still nice to be able to see what this French team does have to offer for ourselves, because they walked away with a pretty emphatic dub yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll start the conversation up before we talk about Signs, before we talk about the Originals, before we talk about this first match, which is coming up, by actually showing you guys what's happening right now in European Elite with the standings, because we should kind of explain. Q is currently through towards the 14 playoffs, and Q is already eliminated. So, Andy, looking towards our top 3 teams here, Rocker Academy, Vengeance, and Ultra Academy EU. They have all guaranteed a spot in the 14 playoffs. That'll be taking place next Tuesday. However, the bottom 5 teams here, I mean, technically speaking, they would be fighting out for the last spot. The Originals, Signs, and Revenge Tour, all 4 of those squads, regardless of what happens here, they are eliminated.
Yeah, they are all, unfortunately, eliminated. We wish that we would have more teams playing off throughout the bracket. Would be crazy. Would take a lot more time, quite honestly speaking. But even more so than that, Brody, it's just one of those things, you know, you really got to try to win out early against, like, whatever matchups that you truly have. If you end up losing out to, say, like, your Revenge Tours, your Originals, then you're going to be in a really tight bind, and that's exactly what ended up happening for, you know, Celio Signs, Doge Nation, Revenge Tour, in the Originals. It just unable to scrape by and get those wins and kind of, I guess, evade the warpath that was Rocker Academy and Vengeance throughout the round-robin stage.
Absolutely. So today, really, if anything, Silkery's Bakery and Doge Nation, those are going to be our focus teams for today. They're the only ones who can grab that 4th and final spot. It does make things interesting for those teams in particular. However, for the Originals and Signs, this match is basically to try and gain higher standings in the overall shape of things here for European Challengers. We'll kick off the conversation with the French squad of Signs here. Now, Andy, of course, this team, they didn't make their way into Season 1 of Elite. They were wiped out by Flux in the qualifier, if I remember correctly. Flux, they split up at the end of Season 1. That kind of paved the way here for this Signs roster to find their way in Elite Season 2. And honestly, I think, you know, between you and I having a conversation here about this Signs roster, they have, I think, done as we kind of expected them to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, not being able to scrape by to be a top 4 team, but they have definitely made, I guess, waves to be able to make an argument for showcasing their abilities, say, coming Season 3. We got some time in between now and then for them to be able to hit the books with whatever they have to offer as far as coaching is concerned. Maybe it's just these 4 players, but you can see it right here as far as their overall record is concerned. 3rd best hardpoint team that we have in Challengers Elite Season 2 for Europe. And that does say a lot, to be completely candid here, because we knew that their search and destroy was always going to be almost like a fallback, if you will. They are 8th overall, but when it comes down to it, that hardpoint has honestly paid dividends for them to keep a lot of these series close.
Yeah, absolutely right. And it is good, of course, when you do have a strength like Hardpoint for the Signs roster, of course. And it has helped them gain a couple of wins here and there throughout Elite so far. They're looking for their 3rd today. But let's go a little bit deeper here on the reason why they are so good at Hardpoint. Maybe their standout player, the player to watch here today. For this series, I think you and I both agree that player is absolutely Cobra.
Yeah, I mean, this young guy coming out of France is definitely something you definitely want to be keeping a look at. I mean, when we think about this entire Signs roster, you know, you're thinking about like Nadox, Depa, but I mean, as far as what Cobra's been able to offer themselves, he's averaging about like 2.6 kills per minute. You can see it right there, 1.03 overall KD, a very high Slayer rating for being on one of the lower 4 teams. But even still, it's, again, coming through from the hardpoint. This dude is a loose cannon, and you can definitely feel their presence on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll see how Cobra is able to get things underway here, of course. I was told, we didn't get a chance to look over towards the map set for this series. I was told that they are basically just playing Berlin and Tuscan. which isn't
Yeah.
really a surprise for European challenges, so I didn't know which one we'd be kicking things off with. It is actually going to be Tuscan here on the map. This is where Cobra should find some effectiveness, but here's a player we didn't get a chance to really highlight for the originals, Niall. He has improved massively from Season 1 to Season 2, Andy.
Well, when you think about this this originals roster, when you're looking from top to bottom, Hockey is basically filling giant shoes, and that's going to be shoes that Furious left behind, of course, playing now with Ultra Academy EU, but you're almost trying to think when it's the originals roster who's going to be stepping into that Slayer role. We saw Niall really come to life at the end of Season 1, and they were able to at least go gung-ho when it comes down to Season 2, but the opening rip is favorable for Signs so far. They're able to get quite a bit of time off of P1, Brody, and they're keeping things rather scrambly through the middle of the map. A big kill does come through for Deliver. It's all about just getting middle of the map presence. Into church they go before breaking the spawns ahead of 2.
There's been a pretty good start overall here from Signs, and, well, it might well get better as they are now in control of the hard point for now. It's going to be Nadox inside the last remaining player here as Hawkeye and Niall able to combine for 3 alongside Raffi, and, well, there you go. The originals with those back spawns should be able to keep Signs at bay for now. But, I mean, look, Andy, coming into this match, the originals, they are 1-8 in hardpoint. It hasn't been a good run of things, I think, for them. So we need to see something special out of them coming out today.
The originals are a 2-3-5 team through and through. We always saw that even when Furious was on this roster. Furious was the only one that was able to go positive more often than not. But this team, it just truly does struggle when it comes down to overall break potential. And when they are in for initial time, they don't exactly hold it for long. The same thing starts to insinuate here over by 2. I mean, Signs are just having their way as Depa will find 2 off the back end. Will keep this hardpoint contested for a little while longer, and this is while they're also holding the rotation going over towards 3. The originals really need to come into their own, try to break inside this hardpoint early before this lead spirals out of control.
They absolutely do. Signs, can they hold on to this time? You can see those wave of original players trying to make their way through the mid-map. Raffi and Grad up top towards fire. They potentially could be the first players here to deal with the threat. That is Signs sitting inside. Of course, you also got to be careful of the AR prowess of Deliver towards the backline. But look at this. The kills coming through from Raffi and Grad combining for 4. Signs have 1 player who still continues to spawn the backline. The rest of the team over towards rooftops. Cobra picks up 2. He will be looking for number 3. It doesn't really matter. The bullets are really enough here for Signs to continue to control this hard point. And Andy, here with 20 seconds left on the hill, right, you got to imagine this is actually a pretty good spawn situation as well for Signs. The originals now spawning on ult.
Yeah, I mean, what a perfect time to have spawns flipped in your favor if you are Signs, right? Because now you're essentially playing through the middle of the map, but they pushed a little bit too far forward into 3, and they actually got themselves rooftop spawns. Why is that happening? Because you ended up at least having 1 player for the originals working their way through the north side of the map, and they were able to at least get those top grass spawns. But Signs have been quite adept at breaking in when you go back towards P2, looking to do it again at 4.
It's going to be Signs in for the initial time here. Can Raffi do anything about this? In from up top, he goes, and only a couple of shots will connect. Not enough to take down either Deliver or Nadox here. And, well, the situation will get a little bit worse, won't it? As Deliver actually does end up taking down Hawkeye. Brad coming in from behind. Can he do anything? Absolutely not. Raffi now next up to bat, and bat he will. Oh, Raffi doesn't finish the 3rd gunfight. It will be enough at the very least to find an opening for the originals in this hardpoint. But I think that basically surmises how hardpoint has gone for this team this season.
Yeah, you know, when we talk about Niall as a player that's really stepped up, Raffi at the end of Season 1 was actually quite a highlight player when it came down to the originals, especially when we're talking about the introduction for the originals to be able to kind of rip the rugs out from that old money form roster and found their way into the top 4 teams going back in Season 1. And Raffi was an overall breadwinner. He's sitting there at 16-9, but it's not exactly replicating as much as I'm sure that they would like it as far as team cohesion is concerned. Signs have been manipulating the map throughout this first set to such a high degree. You really need to be able to hold on to this setup. You can see the way that the Signs are trying to at least break on in. It's a little bit of a you hit here, another player's going to hit here in isolated gunfight fashion, and it's just not working out. The originals are doing a great job at just controlling the pace here on 5, always making sure there's a player down low and trying to deal with the hits as they're coming through each door.
It is Signs in for now. The Originals don't really want to give away this time. I don't really know if they have much choice in it, as Depper is able to pick up two. And this is really the struggle bus situation, isn't it, for the Originals? It's one of those positions where even 20 seconds of scrap time at this point is a lot of time to be given away towards this Signs roster. As we look over towards the rotation, perhaps the Originals can have a better go at things here over towards P1. But in from behind comes Nadox. You've also now got Depper and Cobra through the mid-map. And how about that for a breakdown? The Originals, despite getting first touch on the hill, they will be removed. They will still be spawning over towards grass here. There is potential for them to find their way back on through, but it's the AR power of Signs. They are just too good at the moment.
I mean, there's a reason why we talked about Cobra with their adept hardpoint KD. This is the third hardpoint team, and a lot of that comes through from Cobra's AR, and the flexibility as well. Has one more going inside of you. That'll be Grad that actually picks up a two-piece, but 21 and 13 for Cobra. Leading in towards the end of the first hardpoint during the second set. The Originals, it's either you come to life now or you're just looking into that 2-3-5 to maybe steal away this series. Both spawns are actually already being threatened as well, as Signs have actually sent player number 3. That was Nadox. They will find 2, at least as the rotation is concerned. Now the spawns have gone completely haywire. Yeah, you're battling for scrap time if you are the Originals, but you don't break in, if you don't send these 3 players that are controlling the middle of the map to try to at least win the rotation ahead of 2, Signs are threatened to be over 200 points very, very soon.
This is not a rotation, again, that the Originals could really afford to lose. They're down by about 100 points. They need to start to get things going right about now. Hawkeye going to draw that first blood over towards Radio. That is a good start. Grad comes in from the cut with another one as well. This is pretty good from the Originals, but they're still kind of fighting this one from the front. And the big problem is that's not going to work when you've got players flanking like Nadox. Oh, boy. That's horrendous, isn't it, for the Originals? You lose control of the power position you had. Now with 30 seconds left on the hill, you find yourself spawn trap over towards the backline. This isn't so bad for the current hardpoint, Andy, but when it comes to that next rotation, once again, they find themselves at the short end of the stick.
Yeah, again, you know, successful break for scrap time, but you want to find success for scrap time when we're still looking at, like, what? Like a 60 to 20 score line? That's essentially where it was at the end during the first set of hardpoints. Now we're going into P3 during a second set. It's 201 to 113. The Originals are trying to scrape by for at least the break, and you can see what Hawkeye is waiting for over on top Vines on the minimap. They're trying to wait for the successful hit coming out from top comms. Now, player number 3 is going to be Nadox. They're playing one of the best head glitches we have here on Tuscan, but it's a sole player over here. And as soon as they get cut down, another player is going to be spawning in for the Originals, so the break's coming through.
Big kill coming in from Deliver to the very least. Stop Grad momentarily here. Can there be enough of an influence on the spawns? Yes, there will be. Nile does enough. Raffi can end up falling, though, and as those kills come through, I think basically any semblance of a push from the Originals has quickly broken down here. They need to break in as well. They can't afford to give up this time away to Signs, and it's going to be broken push after broken push. Can we see any heroics coming from the new boy on the block, Hawkeye? Well, there is another one in a spree, but he is quickly cut down to size. The Originals, one more hit of this is all you've got left in the tank. Can Raffi do anything from Vines, or is he stuck tangled? Well, there is a couple of kills coming on through, and they do stop Signs from winning it on this hard point. But look at the rotation, Andy. This is going to be tough.
Yeah, and they just have to fly, right? Nadox is sitting there inside of you, is just cutting players down. The Originals are going to be spawning in for 4. Isolated gunfights are going to go by way of Deliver through the side door. Grad's up top, but won't be able to make an extensive argument about it as Signs win the hard point decisively, 250 to 119. It was rotational battle after rotational battle. Signs were always one step ahead of the Originals, and it really just started to spiral out of control with what, like 45 seconds off of P1, Brody, going in towards 2. They got broken up so quickly thanks to both Nadox and Cobra, who absolutely unleashed the pain. Raffi was going and trying to do everything they possibly could, but as far as I guess isolated gunfights are concerned, when you are thinking about those rotational battles, Signs were always one step ahead of the Originals. The Originals, all of their time, all 119 points of it, really came through, you would feel like, on the back 10, back maybe 15, 20 seconds if they were lucky on each hill.
Brilliantly played by Signs, and this is you and I. This is the first time you and I have really got to cast Signs recently. Obviously, we didn't get to cast them in Season 1, so this is really our first impression outside of getting and sitting and watching other people cast them. They look pretty damn good in Hardpoint. The one thing I will say, though, I think you're always going to look good when you're playing a team that is, as we stated, in the middle of the match. 1 and 8 in Hardpoint. The only match they've actually won was a Tuscan Hardpoint versus Doge Nation, which is maybe that boded well for them that they did get to play Tuscan. But nonetheless, look, we kind of expected them to lose that in the series. Signs playing very, very well. Cobra 25 and 18, Nadox 26 and 16. Not a surprise to see those players playing as well as they are. Let's go over to all our maps, though, for the series. You and I can kind of break this down here, Andy. Next up is going to be Search and Destroy on Berlin. We should be seeing things a little bit better here. Brighter skies ahead, if you will, for the originals.
Yeah, I mean, you would almost hope so, right? I mean, this is a 2-3-5 team at the end of the day. It's been almost like their boon of success when it comes down to Hardpoint. Again, they've only won a single Hardpoint, and that was actually, what was it, on a Tuscan Hardpoint versus Doge Nation, and that was their very first matchup within Season 2. But as far as signs are concerned, you know this is going to feel rather rehearsed for Search and Destroy as well. This was actually map number 2 when they were playing Rocker Academy yesterday, Brody, here on the Clutch stream, and they ended up winning it 6-3. Their one big loss was actually to Sucre's Bakery. They lost 1-6, but they also won a round 11 versus Revenge Tour, which does say a lot, considering how strong of a Search and Destroy team that is as well. But if you're going to come to life, it's going to be here for the originals. They are a very successful Search and Destroy team. We even talked about that all throughout Season 1 when you and I were casting over top of the originals, even when Furious was in here. This was the game mode that we were able to see the entirety of the roster for the originals really step up to the plate, specifically for Nile, to be able to find those timings, be able to enforce their hand, if you will, so that way Grad and Rafi can fulfill their role in just cutting down the rotation.
Yeah, I think this is the thing, right? Is the originals all throughout Season 1, we were talking about just how good of a Search and Destroy team they were. I think my only quarrel with that now would be the fact that, you know, we're looking at this roster and they are less good at Search and Destroy than they were. I think it's really horrible, isn't it, when you're looking at this team, because in some ways they have improved dramatically. You're looking at players like we kind of mentioned in the match, right? Again, Niall, he has improved massively from Season 1 to Season 2. The step up has been one of the biggest we've seen from Season 1 to Season 2 for anybody across the league. I think Keza is the only other player that I can think of that has had such a leap, right? And I think, you know, elsewhere as well in this, we've seen these guys, they look like they're okay in certain game modes here, even in Control, but it is Search and Destroy for me, where it's like, this was their biggest game mode Season 1. It was a reason why they were able to edge out teams. I think, you know, they clutched a crucial game 5 for like their final game of the round robin or something. And they just don't look as good on it anymore, but if they are going to take anything in the series, it is probably going to be the Search and Destroy. The one thing I will say here, Andy, overall, is at the end of the day, I think we really do have to emphasize this. Even though obviously you and I want to sit here and hype this matchup as, hey, look, this is a really awesome matchup between these two teams, and to a certain extent, it of course is. Both of these teams are eliminated, and they know that at this point. I don't think either of the teams will be extremely happy or extremely disappointed coming off this series or any of these maps of a loss.
I mean, this is a big exhibition match when you're really thinking about going forward. This is going to be the difference maker in between these teams, in my opinion, sticking together as a core four, really getting down to the nitty-gritty and try to find a lot of these different changes that, even if they are roster changes, to be able to make this team work going into Season 3, because we're going to have to see them through the qualifier later on down the road. It's all very depending on how it ends up playing out, but we will soon see. On the offense will be the originals, and this is the guy I wanted to highlight. Brad is sitting, as far as Search and Destroy is concerned, I think somewhere near an absurd like 1.38 overall KD in the game mode. Finds first blood. They'll be blooded themselves, though, and the bomb is now dropped at a precarious spot.
Cobra with the sniper rifle, we were kind of wondering who will be running it for signs. Of course, it is Cobra here, and he does actually spot out Rafi. Does he have enough of a leg or a toe to take down? No. He tries to shoot for the bomb. I kind of like it from Cobra. He's like, yeah, I can definitely do that. And unfortunately for him, Rafi will walk away, but straight back into the LOS he goes. And Cobra, it feels like, you know, like the image of like a fat person running on a treadmill with a burger in front of them. I feel like that's what Cobra is up to at the moment. And oh, okay, the pistol is apparently better than Hawkey's SMG. Doesn't matter in the end anyways. The originals, they take control of A, and they get control of the round as well.
I think what's really impressive when it comes down to this originals roster about how much value they've been finding in Search and Destroy, specifically on this map mode combo, Brody, is that when they did end up losing Furious being picked up by Ultra Academy EU, is that they lost their instigator. They lost Furious's almost gung-ho mentality off the rip to be able to deny so much space. And Grad has actually stepped up to be that role taker, if you will, to be able to fully instigate a lot of different early gunfights and find those first bloods. Let's see if Signs will be able to at least answer back. Hit marker on the Hockey. Too many walls to be able to count against, but that's immediate information for the rest of the team to challenge all the way through, and Depa will take down Hockey for first blood, and the bomb's going to go down because of it.
Grad, technically speaking, alone here for now on this site. Rafi and Niall will come over to help sooner rather than later. And anybody from Signs hold on to this site. Depper's going to fall over towards the back line now, all down here to Deliver and Nadox. Well, these players here, they should be able to play the tie, but Rafi going to jump with the defuse. Will Nadox do anything about this? I think surely Deliver will do something from the train station, but he doesn't. He's only able to take out Niall. The defuse comes through, and that's some of those heads-up play calls that we love to see from the originals, right? This is why they were so good at S&D in Season 1.
Yeah, fully able to expect and read, more or less understand almost like a day one post-plan setup when it comes down inside of the A-bomb side, right? I mean, you know, you go back to the early stages of Vanguard, a lot of people were still getting bamboozled by a lot of these desks, the small room that is inside of A, but the originals are just way too knowledgeable about where all these players could be located at now. We got a fast hit coming through over by A, the bomb in Grad's hands. They were able to at least fish out first blood last time, but Depa gets aggressive over by the concourse stairs and gets away with their life.
And now for the originals here. You don't exactly have the numbers in your favor. You do still, technically speaking, have some modicum of control over the site. Grad throws a nade over the top. It will not connect with anything. And Depper actually will fall. I love the aggression coming out from the originals. How quickly the tables have not necessarily turned, but pushed very much in favor of the originals here. 3-0. There you go, Andy. And it's this search and destroy prowess that we're seeing from this roster.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Because now that's, what, two, if not... Yeah, I'd say it's 2 rounds now that the originals get first blooded, and they chase to be able to find that trade. And then from there on out, they're able to completely collapse any sort of post plant or even a defensive setup for Signs. And that just is the benchmark of what makes a very strong search and destroy team. So here we go. See if the originals can continue on with this pace. Got Grad again just instigating down these concourse stairs. Has a good look for 2, and they will find both. A great introduction as they are now on 6 in a row.
These first bloods, so good for the originals here. Now, Deliver left up all on his lonesome. And he live up to his name and Santa Claus's way out of this round. Would be nice if he could drop some presents onto the lap of Signs. Got that first blood against Niall. Does he see Grad? I don't think he's seen Grad here. This is dead to rights. There you go, Deliver. And the originals, they haven't lost a round just yet, Addy. This looks so good from them.
Yeah, Grad is playing like the man that we know all the originals are. I mean, they are playing like they got nothing left to lose. I mean, even if they win this series, they're not going to qualify. They are dead last. They're the only team that is more or less truly guaranteed, apart from any crazy permutations next to Doge Nation and Sukri's Bakery. But for these 2 teams, again, it's just about showing your strengths continuously, and Grad is doing all of that. Again, 1.38 overall KD in Search and Destroy on a 7 spree through 4 rounds. That's just insane with his own stuff. Cobra will see players cross, will make sure that they have at least the angle to take down Rafi. On the opposite side, Deliver was able to take down now. 2v4 we go, but the bomb is still getting planted at B.
Cobra can't snipe through... Well, you can snipe through the walls, but you can't snipe him when you're going to miss Hawkeye. He is desperately trying for these shots. I tell you what, some of them getting dangerously close to connecting, and Hawkeye might find himself in an infested swamp of alligators. In a minute, there you go. And he gets snapped up. Grad, the last remaining player here, 1 versus 4. Can he do anything? He's going to get the first kill. Does he get away? Ooh, he does. There's no way. There's no way Grad does this. Surely not. Nope, there you go. Deliver takes him down. The number's just too strong for Signs. They're able to get around on the board here, Andy.
Good thing that dock cleaners were out there. I mean, when you were looking at it, Deliver was maybe just a hairs away from jumping off the map, off of that challenge, to be able to at least get that trade on the ground. I mean, numbers were definitely going to play into full effect for Signs, is that, again, those first 2 kills that came through for them, one off the sniper Cobra, just made sure that they had the open land to be able to lock down that shot with the Kar 98K, and then Deliver also finding the other one through the middle of the map with the Automaton. And even a 2v4 as godlike of a post plant you can put yourself in, it really all just comes through on making sure that you have a player over on top warehouse. Signs, they cross all their T's, dot all their I's. The beginning stages of that round. Cobra is still playing with the sniper here offensively. the putting themselves up top warehouse won't be able to see that Rafi was able to work their way inside the B hut as the rest of Signs are kind of fiddling with the idea to commit towards this B site.
Well, now I'm going to play this slow as you like. Of course, Rafi is actually inside the site. Cobra's the player you want to watch out for. This sniper position has been so deadly this season. I think Niall is probably keeping a close eye on it. How fast the Cobra can strike. Sure, you really want to be the one in its path. And still, as Depper has fallen out this round, and I think for Signs at the moment, they're trying to find a way back in.
Got to be off of a pick. They're trying to play for the timing. I mean, you find this pick through the middle of the map, you might be able to rotate over towards A, but Nadox, a couple shots. That'll give away their positioning, but now you got to commit towards a bomb site. There's 23 seconds remaining, and you have to assume it would be at B.
Oh, Niall puts the shots into Nadox. At least the information is there. Rafi should act on that information. There you go. Cobra's going to get the sniper to Niles. This 1v1 is huge. Grad going to bring the glide bomb down. And I tell you what, the roof is not quite going to be invincible. As Deliverer now knows he's not going to win this 1v2. Those players have split up. And the Originals edging closer here to the 6-1 victory. Signs, they just, I think in that round, Andy spent a little bit too long trying to figure out how to win the 3v4. It's tough, right?
I think the glide bomb is a little bit egregious, but it is absolutely tough, right? I mean, you lose that first player trying to commit over towards some information. Nadox had a good look, maybe try to find some shots over top fire when they were top third of male. Can't get away with at least the kill, just some damage. It gives away the positioning and the information that Signs are all just still lurking around the backside of male. And then the Originals just absolutely collapsed on the information. They never budged. They never took the bait. Now on offense, they are committing towards the middle of the map. Depa, he's one more player up top, but it's going to be Cobra that takes down Rafi for first blood. It's going to slow up the offense considerably. Oh, well.
Cobra's, well, yeah, there you go. He's been barreled. Deliverer with a kill. We'll put the numbers back in favor of Signs here, and Cobra's mistake will be wiped away. Hawkeye and Grad, look at this adaptation coming through. Now, I think that as soon as the information comes through here, Andy, Nadox should make the call towards his teammates that this cross is coming in.
They're going to be able to find the timing for it. I mean, Grad is back here clearing out a whole lot of different land, eats some shots, Nadox for the return fire, but down to 35 seconds, you would assume that the bomb has to get planted here, and Hockey's too busy watching the flank. They know where that Nadox is back lobby. Going to be able to at least find some damage, confirm the information. No, these two players for the Originals are stacked up inside this A bomb site, dropped like rats, if you will, and now Signs can act on it, while you also have Depa committing to the flank.
Well, there's the bomb plant. Can Deliverer end up with the kill? Yes, he can. Hawkeye left up 1 versus 3. Now he's got to play a little sneaky boy. He's able to get the first kill. Does actually temporarily get away. You've got to imagine surely here he's getting taken down, though. There you go. Nadox with the final kill. Signs going to survive for now. It's another round on the board here for the French. And it's just a tough position, right, for Grad and Hawkeye to be in that 2 versus 3.
Yeah, it really was, right? You know, you definitely feel the presence when it comes down to these longer lines of sight, especially on Berlin. That first blood comes through, you're playing against the numbers. Even though the bomb does go down, there's no way that they were going to be able to at least commit a player to watch top lobby. They knew that Nadox was still back there, while also trying to have a player watch the flank. It just doesn't work like that in a 2v-odd situation. As Depa committed towards the flank, and even going 1-for-1 back there, it was going to be good enough. They walk away with the kill, not traded until late. Signs are trying their best to amount some sort of comeback. They already got the streak out from Grad. No more glide bomb to worry about. Just about making sure that you play the information, you play the numbers, which they're back to their old mischievous ways. Trying to get the information on the backside of the warehouse. Got presence here from Depa inside of the boathouse. Was fishing with the idea that Niall is supposed to be on this backside tank. And they'd be right. Some shots are also coming through, but Depa will lose the gunfight.
Oh, Nadox for 2, though. That's pretty huge. Now for 2 for 2 we go. You've got to imagine, though, Grad should be able to put this back into a 2v1. Deliver now the last player left up alive here. 1v2. The Originals do what they do best. They've got each other's backs. Playing split up here. All their angles are covered. Deliver did just actually spot out Grad. Has eyes on the cross. I think Grad actually did spot him out there, so the shots do go through. 30 seconds left on the clock here, Andy, for a Deliver to do something. He's going to go for a flank.
Get anything off this commitment, though. The stun's going to come through, and almost assumed that the player was going to be towards the middle of the map. Did not get any information until it was just way too late. The Originals, thanks to Rafi being able to find those first 2 kills and really grad all the way through the early stages of the game, Brody. Goes 13-3 for the W. This is why we talk about how strong this team is at Search and Destroy. Look, they lost Furious, they lost their Instigator, but in comes Grad as the, I guess, the initiator now for this Originals roster to really pave the way, to open up so much space for the rest of their team. I mean, 13-3 for Grad, 10 non-traded kills. He legitimately got more kills than the rest of his team combined.
Yeah, Grad's a pretty good S&D player.
1,300 damage, bro. Like, what is that?
Yeah, I think that's the thing, and this is what we said about the Originals, you're right, albeit I think the context is, again, something we do have to note here is at the end of the day, this is a match that doesn't really matter other than, as you said, an exhibition match. But something we've already noted about the Originals and Search and Destroy is that, generally speaking, any of the 4 players on their roster, even with Hawkeye on the team, they can all kind of have an incredible S&D at any given point. Grad here stepping up to the plate at 13-3, as you aptly say, almost 1,300 damage. It is just, it's nuts to look at Grad doing what he's able to do here in the Search and Destroy, being a massive opponent for the Originals there in that game. That is going to tie our series up at 1-1. And this leads us to a situation that I think you and I kind of both saw coming here, looking at kind of the records of these 2 teams coming into it, looking at how good they've looked in Hardpoint, in Search and Destroy. If we take a look over towards our map set, Andy, again, you and I, we kind of had this discussion. I said this is either going to end in 4 or it's going to end in 5, and it all depends on who wins this Control Tuscan.
The Control on Tuscan is going to be an interesting one, considering that it's the only map for Control that the Originals have played. I mean, you either get this or a Gavutu, but it really just comes down to the coin flip or the higher seed being able to choose that specific map. And they've only played Tuscan. They're 2-4 on it as a whole. Signs, on the other hand, they played more Gavutu than they have Tuscan. 0-4 on Gavutu, 1-on-1 on Tuscan Control for an overall 1-5. Not their strongest game mode, but they have been able to show their strengths in Respawn. And if you go back to that Tuscan hardpoint that we did have, Brody, specifically for the break potential that we did see from Signs and the lack of holding that we had for the Originals, this is where things are going to get a little bit scarier. Yes, you have at least the safety net for those closer spawns if you are the defensive team for the Originals, but the one thing you can always keep in the back of your mind is that this Originals roster was playing upset to a lot of different teams just last season. I know that we had Furious instead of Hawkeye on this roster, but even more so than that, they continue to play upset when it comes down to Control, still surprising a lot of teams about what they bring to the table.
Yeah, I don't know. I think one of the big things last season, though, was their SMG pressure, right? When it came to Tuscan, they were, as you say, they surprised on this map. And you know, I got to say, I think a big part of that was just Furious was pretty consistently leading the way in those controls. Hawkeye has to step up to the plate here, in my opinion. I think he is absolutely able to do it. However, so far this season, it hasn't been the best for him. I think he has a 0.67 in control overall this season. Yeah. He can step up to the plate here, in my opinion. I think definitely they stand a chance. However, on the flip side of that, you know, again, it comes back to that conversation about Nio, right? About how much of a difference he has made to this team between Season 1 and Season 2. He went from a 0.84 in Season 1 to a 1.10 here in Season 2. We should kind of put an asterisk on this by saying this doesn't, I believe, include yesterday's games. So this is just the Week 1 stats. Nonetheless, though, the Originals need to win this. Can they get it done? Well, kicking things off, it's going to be Rafi holding up things with 2, and that is going to force the 2 remaining players over towards Grass from Signs all the way back. Rafi continuing off this brilliant start, by the way.
Yeah, even though we didn't end up getting the second set updated inside of stats, Brody, Rafi is still holding a 1.36 overall KD on Control. Again, when I was talking about, you know, you lost Furious, you lost your Instigator, but in comes the Instigator of Rafi, and we've seen what this guy can bring to the table. He is that island player over by A, of which will finally be cleaned up by both Nadox and Delivered. But it was a little bit of a bait play. You only had that one player over there. They got that first tick of progress, while the rest of the team, for the Originals, were trying to find pressure over by B, but it's an isolated play now. You had Grad off screen trying to find a gunfight versus Depa. They did end up going 1-for-1, taking down Cobra, but it doesn't matter because there wasn't extensive help back there. That's going to force Rafi to hang out top patio inside of radio, more or less, and just wait for any sort of reinforcement to come back all the way through. But now we go back to what happened in the Tuscan Hardpoint. When it came down to these isolated gunfights, rotational gunfights, Signs were absolutely flourishing, and they're continuing doing that in space.
I think for the first set of kills that we saw from the originals, one tick of progression on A is not good enough right now. 45 seconds on the clock here for them to get more progression, for them to even capture the point. But it's Deliver who's able to line up two. He will not get the third. Good to know coming in from Grad. And now for Depper to move forward here. He is on 5 in a row, by the way. A couple more kills. He gets the glide bomb, and that will be a very damning thing for the originals to have to worry about, as they now turn their attention potentially over towards B. Look, it's a Hail Mary play, this one, Andy. It's got to work here. It's now or never, and I think it's probably going to be never. Hawkeye, last remaining player left up. At the very least, that push has given the originals some space to get onto A.
Yeah, they're going to spawn closer to Pines, right? So you're going to be able to at least stop that clock over by A, but Signs are flying through the middle of the map, going to be at least looking for these kills. They're going to be at least watching the flank. It's going to be Hawkeye that has to deal with Depa, and well, Depa is able to find kill number 7. That's going to be the glide bomb, has been put in the back pocket. Grad through you is going to try to at least make this play extended, but the moment that they think a push is coming through from grass, they get cut down from behind by Cobra, and it's just one of those things, again, that you always end up just thinking that the originals are just one mark away from making this push happen, but now they're down to no more respawns. Even if they capture this B zone, even if they added the extra 60 seconds on the board, Brody, it is an uphill battle. 11-3 was the final lives remaining there in favor of Signs, +8, if you will, leading into that round number 5, because you got to remember, it's not overall tick progression they're going to be playing for. It is lives remaining. It's overall eliminations, really, to be able to settle out for that 5th and final defensive side. But I'll go back to that one point that you brought up through the extensive gunfights and victories inside gunfights that we saw, specifically from Grad across the Ruin side over by that A zone early on. You should have been able to at least stack that a little bit better. The original is kind of getting a little bit too antsy and trying to apply pressure over by B. Signs just completely wiped the rest of those original players off of A and just stopped that extra 60 seconds from coming through.
Signs looking to have a bit more of an efficient start than the originals did over towards A. They are stacking the point, looking to capture it pretty much straight away. Depper got to open things up with first blood, but this is a nice bit of a refuting coming in from Grad and Raffi. They're able to combine for 3 here, and this will leave Deliver all on his lonesome on the point now. Hawkeye coming in from behind, though, and this is what you love to see coming in from the originals. They might not be able to stop A, but at the very least, they are starting to pressure this Signs roster. A has fallen by the wayside now, Andy.
Extra 6 seconds on the board, but look at the map pressure that's coming through from the originals. They're assuming that the push is coming away from P5, but what you're looking at was you had Hawkeye trying to clear away Zig, and then you also have Nile, who's playing an island play over by top rooftops. Rafi was able to at least take down one player, but that's not any information. The push is coming down from B ramp, and Rafi's in a prime position to try to deal with this.
Raffi, can he get any of these kills? Oh, he's going to be faced down by a couple of different players. That's tough right there for Raffi, isn't it? To do something. And now, of course, for Signs, well, what do we love to see, mate? Stacking the point. A couple of players now looking to capture this zone. Deliver going to hop off for a second as Depper towards the back line will end up falling. And this push should fall apart, periodically speaking, as the originals are able to get away with kills. Raffi, mate, that's your teammate. Can't be doing that. This B zone will be cleared. 1 tick of aggression does come through from Signs, and that is, I think, in my opinion, Andy, an actual good play, I think, from Signs to get that tick of progression and then just move off and try and get those kills.
Yeah, it got scary, though. I mean, it was the right play for the originals. You had no information on where the push was coming through. You just had to play those island positions. Rafi will get double chowed one by one, both Depa and Cobra chowed, and they will fall in kind. And now we have isolated gunfights just coming through bountiful for Signs, trying to walk away with any sort of, I guess, interest of positional advantage, maybe try to get themselves top radio, try to at least clear through the patio side. They're already through P5, but the issue is that this is a one-dimensional hit, and Hawkeye is set up to deal with it.
It's tough now, isn't it? Yeah, time's starting to wind down here in this round. Signs don't really have the lives, and that's going to be at the back of your mind moving forward. That, of course, what, the 8 life advantage that they built them in round number 1, now it's just reduced to 1. How much more pressure do you really want to put here into this round? Also got to keep an eye on Raffi as well. 5 kills in a row. Here we go, though. The hit's starting to come on through. Hawkeye going to end up falling. Now for the originals. Can they get this done? Depper and Nadox in for 2. Raffi has been taken out of the equation. Grad going to fall as well. Can this happen for a Signs? It is just now Deliver on towards this point. Andy, he needs to do something
to be able to deal with these players that's top patio as well. Cobra is actually doing a great job zoning things away. 14 v8. They're starting to work their way up to the staircase, but Cobra's able to take down one more. Grad's trying to at least extend this defensively. They will clean both Depa and Nadox up. Cobra will break their camera down by the column side. The issue is you got 10 seconds remaining and 1 respawn remaining.
And again, 10 seconds left. They're actually going to go for this. I kind of respect it from Signs. They've got some serious brass ones on them. And Depper's going to pick up 2. They will have a chance to touch the point now. 4v7 we go. Depper picks up 3. Oh, that's a very correct oh-no here. Rafi going to clear the point, though. Can anybody touch? Yes, they can. Now a 2v2 onto the point we go. Grad able to pick up 1. Depper, can he do anything? No is the answer. Lovely nade from Niall to clear things up. And it's a bit of a messy kitchen there. Little too many cooks, but it doesn't matter in the end. The Originals going to win out. I think the bottom line is, for me, even though the Originals didn't end up losing the round, I think the life disparity, Signs will be happy with that.
They should be, yeah. It was only maybe about like +3 there at the end. Like, what was it, like a 1v4 was the total lives remaining, and that you're going to be feeling pretty darn good with that if you are Signs, considering that after the A zone had completely gone by the wayside, you were maybe looking at it like 5, maybe 6 lives in the deficit, all the way up to maybe about 7 when a lot of those pushes did end up faltering. So now through the opening engagements here, this time around, they will not allow Grad to have their way across the monument side. Set nades and set angles will be a beautiful thing when it comes down to sides opening rip. They're able to deal with all the players. The problem is when you're trying to push over towards B, you did not leave a player up top radio, if not top patio, to at least clear the flank or the potential for Signs to reintroduce themselves, as Nadox will come back through, will break up that play entirely. Now the Originals with 55 seconds remaining, spawning over towards Vines. They kind of broke up the defense over by A, made them force their way down towards B. They completely forgot that Depa had some streaks, so they're going to at least initiating the play to reintroduce themselves here at the A zone.
Can they survive the onslaught here? Hawkey and Grad, the last remaining players. Now it's just going to be the latter. Grad all on his lonesome here towards the point. He will get taken down. But again, I really love this play coming in from the Originals. They recognize, hey, look, we're going to spawn over towards rooftops. You might as well try and get a hit onto B. If we can get a tick of progression in, that's all fine and dandy. If anything, I think they just need to be kind of wary of the lives. It's continuing to go in favor of Signs here. 5, the differential in this round. Niall, some heroics would be nice. Right now, somebody get your cape on. Edda mode wouldn't exactly be happy. Here, Niall! He's able to pick up 1, but that's all he's going to get. But again, it's the distraction that really matters here, right? Because now the Originals, they've got the space on towards A.
5 life deficit, though. You got to be able to extend this game clock by 60 seconds. Depa, again, is committing to the flank, but you also had Niall over by the tree planter box. Will actually clean things up, making sure that the flank play does not come all the way through, but the hit from the front to reintroduce is wonderful. Signs are able to work their way back inside of the A zone. Brad is trying to finesse through the middle of the map, trying to extend this game clock. They do find 2, but you still have Deliver on the flank to deal with.
Deliver, can he do anything here? Oh, up and down he goes. Never seen some movement like that, but Deliver will deliver it to us here. Now for the Originals, still or die time here in this round. Depper able to pick up 2. Surely he doesn't get gifted a 3rd for free. He will not, as Grad has to work for that one. For another one, he will not find it, and the Originals, well, they do have now players on towards B. I was kind of wondering for a second there, why is the clock stopping? It's just Rafi over here that's causing some problems on B. This again will open up some space for his teammates. Kills being made around him as well. There's surely no way here that the Originals can't be.
3-10, I mean, they can absolutely do it. They just have to be able to apply the pressure. Hockey needs to go big in the back. They have at least information on 1, but Deliver will be there for the bait and switch. Niall has to make this play happen for themselves. 3v8. You might actually be able to work your way over towards the A zone because Rafi's doing a phenomenal job at just making sure that the play stays alive over Baptiste. It's 2v8. You might as well just try to go ahead and throw these lives away, try to get this offense to be extended at all. Last player alive for the Originals will just tuck themselves in a corner, but that 7-life lead will surely be felt. Signs will take a 1-round lead here in the control.
And this is a really concerning round. You have to think, right, for the Originals, because of course you kind of always expected to lose the offenses. They were never expecting you to win that. Obviously, you always want to if you can, but it's the defenses that matter here. But ultimately, the life disparity, I haven't been keeping full track of it, Andy, but I'm pretty sure it's heavily in favor of Signs right now.
Yeah,
the Originals going to have to claw that back in this round with a dominant defensive hold. Can they get it done? It's going to be Signs here on the offense and straight towards A. They barrel. Rafi trying to draw first blood here, but trades galore we go. And it is kind of, I guess, an uncertainty we're seeing right now from the Originals. They don't quite seem as confident as you might like. But Gran, I think he has that confidence. He's able to pick up 1. Rafi and Hawkey picking up kills around him. They're going to clear A, but look at this. Signs spawn up over towards rooftops, and bit of parkour we go on a B.
Focusing on the A zone first and foremost, this is actually a really gut check play if you are Signs, because the longer that they take to try to commit towards this play, the more time that the Originals are actually able to put themselves in a position to try to at least recontest it. Gotta check your corners here if you are Hockey. Nadox will absolutely pounce on it. It was a bait play, and now you got 3 players trying to at least find themselves the space to work up this B zone.
Signs get this. Spell disaster, really, wouldn't it, for the Originals? Second tick of progression about to come through. I believe it has done. And now is Rafi and Niall going to pick up a couple of kills. It's again, it is this recognition from Signs that you love to see. They recognize that they need to wait for the teammates before making any further pushes. Rafi wants to put a nail in this B push, pinning it right now. I don't know if that's going to happen here. Cobra, Deliver, Depper, they all pick up ones. B now starting to go the way of Signs. There is that second tick of progression. Can they get number 3? And crucially, can Grad put a stop to this one? That's a pretty big 2-piece. Hawkeye in for number 3. They will not lose B.
And they're keeping this very, very close. The biggest issue is that Signs have been doing an adept job at just making sure that the clock stays stalled out. We still got 51 seconds left to play. A single life lead in favor of the offense, but all this distraction that was happening over by the B zone, the second that it fell by the wayside, Signs made the heads-up play to try to make their way back over towards A, but Grad is through the middle of the map. A zone will be tacked over for Signs, so an extra 60 seconds comes through, but Grad does a phenomenal job at making sure that no sequence between the middle of the map comes through scot-free.
Now 13 versus 12 lives, something definitely we will have to keep an eye on here with 90 seconds on the clock. That's a wealth of time, but more to the point, look at the progression. Hawkeye wants to put a stop to it. Yeah, Niall's going to be the final player. It's those goddamn nades again as Niall picks up another one onto Depper. And now for Signs, a moment where they can go again. 80 seconds left on the clock here, Andy. 10v10 we go. Hawkeye on towards Patio. He has taken down Nadox and Cobra with the first couple of kills. Niall going to fall as well. Surely going to see the stacking of the point here for Signs just to put a pin in this game. And there it is. Signs going to win on the offense. Their earlier B pressure a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, it was just their ability to constantly just apply the pressure. And even when they knew that they didn't have the favorable kill feed, even through the opening rip, they went like maybe 3 for 2, 3 for 1 in certain instances. And the second that they realized, look, we don't have more numbers here, they just play those corners and they just bait out the positions from the Originals who were going to be coming through on the flank. And in the moment that they ended up pouncing on those opportunities, then they were constantly just berating the zone, going for those 2-player stacks continuously, making sure that there was always another player, trying to at least cut down reinforcements over by the half wall, funneling the defensive team of the Originals down that church ramp and inside of Radio, where there was always really a Celio Signs member just waiting for one of those original members just to reveal themselves. Depa goes massive, 23 non-traded kills, 33 and 24. About 3,300 damage was the overall leader for their team. Rafi really tried their best on the opposite side with about 3,500 damage, 26 and 26. They will go even, and although Grad had really good openings at 29 and 26, it just simply was not enough. The constant SMG pressure just was not existent for the Originals as much as it was for Signs.
Signs just looked too good there in the swing game in the series, and now, well, we face ourselves a situation, or rather the Originals face a situation here, which I don't think they wanted. I think you and I both knew how the series was kind of going to go again. It's that swing game in the series that really made all the difference here, because we knew that Hardpoint very likely was going to go the way of the Originals, or go the way of the Signs, sorry. The Originals, of course, 1-8 in Hardpoint coming into this series. And now we go into a map number 4 where, look, I don't know how this is. I don't know. I don't know, honestly. The Originals here, you've really got to clutch up if you want to win this one. I will say one thing. If they somehow manage to steal this hardpoint away from Signs, they probably will very likely win the game number 5.
This is still one of the best hardpoint maps for Celio Signs, though. I mean, they don't exactly have a losing record on it. You know, they have 2 losses on Kavutu. They have 2 losses on Berlin. Those 2 losses on Berlin were relatively close. You know, besides that 251-79 Ultra Academy loss yesterday when they played Rocker Academy, they only lost by 17 points. And that says something. You and I both know that as long as teams continuously face Rocker Academy on Berlin Hardpoint, it's probably going to be a losing battle. But the Celio Signs team came out and they made it very, very close for us, Brody. And I think that does say a lot for how this Signs roster is starting to look. It's the same thing that we were talking about for Rocker Academy, especially for a map like Berlin. When you're thinking about it in a game like Vanguard, we talk about it on all different levels of play here in Challengers for North America and Europe especially, and even all the way up to the CDL. The team that has the better cohesion, the ability to be able to break inside the hard points, more or less be able to hold once they do break, those teams more than likely will end up walking away with Berlin, because to break inside a hardpoint takes about 5-10 seconds. To be able to get those favorite spawns first and foremost and then break inside the hardpoint, now you're looking to be able to guarantee yourself about 40 seconds or so. That was constantly existing for this Science roster yesterday when they were going up against the #1 hardpoint team that we have here in Europe of Rocker Academy, and I think that is going to pay dividends versus this team of the Originals, especially knowing that the Originals are not that team to be able to hold these setups. If they are looking to extend it to a map number 5, we have to see that same Nile that we ended up getting last season when they were breaking inside of Berlin Hardpoint versus none other than Moneyform, which is now Ultra Academy EU, to be able to extend that game inside of crucial moments like P3, getting those favorite spawns, making sure that the ARs are always set up. One of these SMG players need to step up to the plate for me, Brody. It can't just be Grad and Rafi. Those are your AR players. If the flex player is always forced to pick up a third SMG just to apply the pressure, you know that we are going up creek without a single paddle. And this has constantly been my argument for this Originals roster, is that if they had the SMG presence, they would end up being so much of a better hardpoint team. But their break potential isn't there. They have to get in first, and they have to hold.
Oh, absolutely do. Let's take a look at this one then. The Originals need to have a good start to this game. It is a good start, I think, for the Originals, as they are able to get onto the hard point first. But straight away, it's the shattering, if you will, of dreams. As Signs able to come on through. They're able to get a wave of gunfights in their favor. Now in for the remaining 30 seconds of time here. We need to see good adaptation coming out from the Originals, Andy, in my opinion. If they lose the next wave of gunfights, make your way over to the rotation. Don't put any more effort into this.
Yeah, there's really no reason to at that point, and that's exactly why you're actually seeing Rafi try to control that B lane. They're completely conceding the rest of the space, putting themselves over by the docks building. It looks like Nadox on the minimap has actually read this. Will be at least trying to fish out some kills back over here, but Rafi's pushed up so far forward over by that truck, and they're going to be able to at least clean up one, trying to get favorite spawns in the favor of the Originals. And they will be successful in that, but the only issue, again, Signs are winning rotational gunfights. Delivers on 5, by the way. Will finally be cut down by Rafi himself. Those close spawns are really starting to come all the way through, but the Originals got to get in.
Nadox around the back line. Here's the problem I think the Originals will have to deal with. They've got past him, to be fair. Grad and Hawkeye still remaining inside the hard point. As I say that, though, Cobra in for 3. Can he get number 4? Well, who knows at this point? I mean, it's just one player that was still being a pain. It was Rafi. He somehow survives for a little bit of time there before, well, he's still actually over here, causing some problems. And it's good time wasting, I think, overall from the Originals. But still, there you go. Wave of kills coming in for Signs once again. This last 20 seconds should go their way. And for a rotation that they initially held here, Andy, didn't go so well. This time has to go better.
Gonna get broken up if they're not careful. There's not a whole lot of presence over by this B lane. And Nile, the second that they peek it, get absolutely mowed over by Depa. But the return and the kills, the trades, if you will, so much better for the Originals this time around. For the initial time, they will be in for it. It's just about reading where these hits are coming from and dealing with it when they come through.
Nadox. Side fire. Deliver and Cobra trying to approach from the courtyard side. Rafi potentially the key to this entire play over towards Street. He's able to get one Hawkeye over towards Fire as well. It's a 2-piece for this man as the Originals holding onto this hill with an iron fist. It's a very nice hold, I think, from the Originals. Is this what we needed to see from this roster? They could not afford to be broken for the majority of time. They could not afford to let Signs get some early momentum once again.
They're at least walking away with a whole 40, but you can see the way the kill feed is starting to bleed in red. Cobra is killing everybody, including his teammates. And the Originals are just like, you want to kill your teammates? I'll kill my teammates too. Returning of the gunfights coming back through in favor for the Originals. But what Celio Signs were looking for here was not just to break in fully for the hard point. There was just about 15-20 seconds remaining when that last hit was coming through. They just wanted to contest it. They didn't want to be giving up the favorite spawns going over towards 4, but they gave a little bit of an opportunity now for the Originals to work their way again across that B lane, trying to get into the backside of the warehouse, and it seems that Signs are okay with this. They have a lot of pressure inside of the concourse of the train station so far, but the moment that one player tries to turn around, Nile will end up dealing with it. The spawns are at least coming through so far for the Originals inside of P1, but as soon as the gunfight starts to bleed on over, the Signs are winning every single one of them.
It's nicely done from Signs so far. The Originals don't really want to give it the scrap time. 25 seconds is quite valuable here for Signs to put a full stop here in this game, but nicely done from Hawkeye and Nile to find their way on through. That's 3 kills in a row. Number 4 will be gifted towards the originals by Raffi. Can Nadox do anything about this towards the backline? No, and this is quite a nice wave of kills coming in from the originals. They're doing a really good job of keeping Signs away, but even again with that wave of kills, Andy, the problem is they spawn over towards the backline and then lose the next. Shines will be very happy with that one to pick up a couple of kills. Now, over towards P5 we go. This is rarely a kill where one team is able to pick a stack of time, but hey, with those kills coming through from Signs, they might have an opportunity to do so.
I even saw up at the CDL, Breaking Point even came out and said that P5 throughout Major number 2 so far, the qualifiers have actually become one of the more stalworthy hills to be able to find a lot of kills, but you got to be at least get yourself to set up a player inside the concourse, player top third of male, and you can actually end up insinuating a little bit of a spawn trap if the enemy team is spawning into the backside of 4. That will be coming through. You can see where Signs are spawning in the backside of P1, if you will. These trades are starting to come all the way through. Where they're spawning in, the originals just can't clean up these kills fast enough to be able to get themselves some crucial time. And you go back over towards 4, it took so long to be able to break in towards that hardpoint with about 8 seconds remaining. And now Signs got themselves about a 60-point lead and growing even more so than that. Battling over for the scrap time, 5 seconds are all that remaining here for 5. And the first set of hardpoints as well. Signs are cleaning up kills left, right, and center. And they're going to be in for the initial time of the second set.
Signs starting to pick up some time here. Cobra in for 2 again. This is a really pivotal moment in the game. The originals can't afford to give this time up. Here comes the hit in. Grad and Raffi going to combine for 2. Now just delivering Depper inside. Nice for Hawkeye to come in and try for the cutoff. A pre-fire in the wrong bit of the door, my friend, as now it doesn't really matter too much. The rest of his team will clear up shop, and the originals now going to be in for a crucial 30 seconds of time. More importantly as well, Andy, as we look over towards the rotation from New, sooner rather than later, they are on the better side of the map.
Yeah, they will be for the time being. But again, it's just about finding themselves in a position to be able to deal with the pressure that's going to be coming through this B lane. They got players trying to battle over towards Old. Nile is inside the small room. Does have some help over here thanks to Raffi. But even still, it's about making sure these rotational gunfights go your way. Grad found some timing over by the B hut. But the biggest issue is you got to be able to deal with Cobra over by the boathouse. You probably just assumed that maybe there was a lot more pressure coming through from that side of the map over by the warehouse, given that there was one player inside of the boathouse, but did not expect for the spawns to be over by the dock still for Signs, and that's going to give them a wonderful opportunity to be able to work their way across the B lane and get in for the initial time of 2.
This needs to be a break again from the originals to try and close the gap. Nicely done by Hawkeye to come in through the front. The pressure really starting to be felt now if you're Signs. As those couple of kills come on through, can Depper do anything about this? There's one, looking for the second. He knows that Hawkeye is around somewhere now. Turn his attention over towards 3, and it's a good call coming through from Signs to deal with all of this pressure. Look at the lanes being run by Depper at the moment. Roots being paid off pretty well as Depper here now with 2 kills. The rest of his team picking up kills around him. Unfortunately, though, that will stop pretty quickly. As the originals now in for 2 and in for the time. But ultimately, is Signs to get more time off the back of that hill, and now they're in for the rotation, Andy.
You know that there's going to be these close spawns you have to deal with. Deliver already threw some shots over by this crane. He's going to have another gunfight versus Nile. Knows that there's potentially going to be one more player, but the stun doesn't connect, so they're not going to know that Grad is actually hitting this. And, well, the nade from Hawkeye's actually going to clean things up. But Cobra's going to be able to at least find 2 of the Nadoc cleans up Grad in the back. Because of that, Deliver will still spawn in over by the crane. The originals are trying to battle this in from the front, though. Early 20 seconds will go in the back pocket for Signs, and the originals need to break inside this hardpoint. Signs threatening to be over 200 points.
Here they come. It is still Signs in the backline, as you say. Nadox, can he do anything about this from fire? No. Bit of a misguided push. Tried to make the heroic play happen, but he will not be able to. And now I think Signs just going to settle for this contest spot. It's going to be tough for Raffi to take him out of this position. Now Raffi is going to go straight for it, but Cobra going to play his life perfectly, swinging wide for number 3. Depper's nade will be the one to finish your Hawkeye, and the last few seconds of scrap time will go Signs' way. Here is a pivotal moment here in this game, Andy. We see the originals. They've made their rotation over towards train yard. They get a full 60. They are right back into this game.
Yeah, the problem is you got to be able to at least hold a setup, Brody, and through the Tuscan hardpoint and through this Berlin hardpoint, minus maybe, what was that P3 that we saw throughout the first set, it was the strongest hill that we've seen. Is where the majority of the time has come all the way through, and Signs can just keep this mixy through the front side of the hardpoint. You also have Cobra over by the trains, just continuously berating a lot of enemies with bolts. Is now on a 5 spree, 26 and 15. They know that all of the originals are going to be over by the backside of the warehouse because they have to break in through the back. And if you are the originals, this is not time that you can give over for free.
That's absolutely not. 15 seconds left here. It's a wealth of time for Science to get, isn't it? Edgerton close to that 250-point mark and a 3-1 series victory. A nice finish of 3-4 overall here in Season 2, despite being eliminated. And they get it done. 17 seconds remaining. All they need. Kill coming through here from Nadox, who continues to be a problem for the Originals over towards the mail room. It's, of course, this Science roster, though. Going to spawn up over towards Train Yard. Nicely done from Cobra to pick up the kill with the pistol. He will be denied the second, but it is now Nadox inside the kill. He takes down Niall. Delivers own nade. Takes him out, though. That's unfortunate.
It is, but you just need 8 seconds, and if you are the Originals, you have to slay out, which has been one of their biggest issues so far. You can see both the SMGs, Nile and Hockey, 17-22, 17-21, respectively, can't even get into a position to try to deal with these players. 4 Celio signs inside of the hardpoint, 250-134. The Originals will go out with a whimper against of their hardpoint ways. Will end 1-10 overall for hardpoints here in Season 2. Gotta go back to the drawing board. They lost. Furious was their biggest breadwinner when it came down to overall presence across the map. And as far as the Originals are concerned, man, we always talked about this even throughout the hardpoints of Season 1, both you and me, Brody, is that they've always seemingly missed a lot of these X factors that a lot of these teams have been bringing to the table. I mean, Cobra goes 28-17, only had 4 traded kills, by the way, 23-20 for Nadox with an SMG in their hand, and Deliver, although going 17-20, was holding their own when it came down to those rotational gunfights. Every single time that we were talking about, oh, this looks like a great chance for the Originals to finally win a rotation, going over from, say, 1-2, they had great presence across the B lane. Signs were reading it every single time. In the moment that an isolated gunfight came through, whether it was medium, long range for an automaton or an up-close gunfight with MP40s in hand, Signs were winning it the majority of the time. They were always winning out in the trade game, thus always being able to have numbers and influence the hardpoint for a substantial amount of time. The majority of time that the Originals walked away with out of 134 points was, what, a 45-point P3 there on the first set, and that was really it.
Yeah, it's tough, right? At the end of the day, and this does show in the stat lines here as we take a look over things, if you're not winning the gunfights on the rotations, you're not going to win the hard point overall. And the Originals, they definitely put up a fight in the first set. I mean, they were holding them pretty close by about 30 to 40 points or so, but Signs just really started to pull away over towards that P3 heal in the second set. And things just look pretty peachy from there on out. And I think, again, you've already kind of nailed it down as we take a look over towards our map set here, the final map set for this series. Hardpoint is just not it for the Originals at the moment, and I think that is something that we'll be looking at going into a potential Season 3. They have a little bit of time now because, of course, Season 3 isn't until, like, May, Andy, right? They've got a little bit of time here to kind of fix up and go, look, this is where we're going wrong at the moment. A lot of time to make this work. That's just, of course, if the roster stays the same, I don't know. But at the moment here, I think hardpoint needs to be the priority for this roster.
It really does, making sure that whether it's, getting a specific coach that can help out to make that hardpoint just a little bit better, or, a role swap is something that you and I actually talked about yesterday. We were watching over the European Challengers matches just yesterday, especially when we were talking about the Originals. Like, what do they need? Because, Furious did play a big role in finding a lot of slays throughout the hardpoint, but it didn't always beckon to make them a better hardpoint team. Slays are one thing, but they were always seemingly being broken. Their setups were never that strong, and breaking us out of hardpoint was kind of like a 50-50 shot. That's more me being nice about it. I almost want to say it was like a 40 to 60, whether or not they were able to at least break the hardpoint or just chalk it and try to rotate. It's one of those things that maybe you have to look at just a role swap, maybe. I mean, we talk about this roster, specifically what Grad has been bringing to the table for a lot of the different gunfights that they've been getting into, specifically in the control for this roster of the Originals. That could be your boon of success, especially for this Originals roster. If this team is going to be sticking together, I think you have to lean on activating Grad a little bit more, because when they're finding themselves in those close range gunfights, when they only have an automaton in their hand, it would be so much better if they just had an MP40. If they're going to be playing that instigator role, we saw it happen through a lot of those different rounds on the Berlin Search and Destroy. It was done with an MP40 when they were getting mixy inside the B hut. They are trying to fill the shoes of what Fury's left behind. I think you just need to be able to find that player that can almost fulfill that AR flex role and just allow Grad to let loose on the map.
Yeah, I think something needs to change, just generally speaking, for this Originals roster. I don't know what it is. If it is a role swap, but generally speaking, you're right most of the time, Andy, when it comes to these things. If it is a role swap that's needed, hey, look, maybe that's something they should look into. But at the moment, something isn't working, and I'm sure these guys, I think Ollie is their coach, right? They'll be taking themselves back to the drawing board here and being like, right, what is going wrong? VOD reviewing, I think, quite a lot over the next few weeks before those Season 3 qualifiers do hit. But of course, on the flip side of this conversation, it means that Signs, they are finishing Challengers Elite Season 1, 3, and 4. We should stress, I know there's a lot of Signs fans out there, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. These guys, they have already been eliminated 3 and 4 or otherwise just because of the head-to-head situation here with, I think it's Sukri's Bakery, Doge Nation Revenge Tour. They don't beat out Doge Nation, even if they go 3 and 4, if they beat out Sukri's Nation. It's a bit of a complicated situation, but either way, bottom line here, in bold, they are eliminated. They can't do anything regardless of this matchup. So, we're going to be done for our first set. We'll be back very soon with our second. It's going to be Toronto Ultra Academy EU taking on Revenge Tour. It is going to be a banger of a matchup. Of course, you guys don't want to miss it. Welcome back, everybody, here to Call of Duty Challengers Elite for the final time of the round robin stage here on Clutch. We're about to bring you our final match, Andy. Ultra Academy EU taking on Revenge Tour. This is another match where both of the fates of these teams have been decided, and it's all for glory. It's kind of funny, in a way, isn't it, looking at these two teams, because we were in a very familiar position last season, with this being the last match these two teams faced off. It was Moneyform versus Revenge Tour then, although back then, these teams, they looked a little...
Just a little bit different, yeah. I mean, when you're thinking about this Revenge Tour roster as a whole, right? You know, we saw a little bit shades of their former self throughout the entirety of this round robin stage. You know, you no longer have Denza playing with this team. They're actually still on main broadcast playing against Rocker Academy, playing with their new roster of Vengeance, and this Revenge Tour roster just generally doesn't look the same. This Ultra Academy roster, on the other hand, Brody, used to be called Moneyform. We saw what Furious was able to do with their old roster with the originals last year, kind of dragging them through the dirt, if you will, being able to find a lot of different value with that team specifically being the overall heavy lifter, if you will. But this Revenge Tour roster, Keza, Mythics, Watson, Chaxter, is quite an interesting one. It's a whole conversation within its own self, because we know that Denza is a cracked out player. We know what they were able to do off all the pressure that was being provided and the further pressure that was also being exerted from Denza. And ever since picking up Chaxter, I won't say that it's a terrible pickup, but I'm saying that it's going to be an interesting one, because someone needs to step up to that slaying role, and Kez has slowly been trying to pick up that slack as the season's been going on.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it, looking at this roster? I think whatever your views on the players that have replaced certain players and the players that have left, it is a downgrade, I think, for the roster, just in terms of the four as a unit, right? I don't think they're quite as good as they were in Season 1. And I think the stat that really accentuates that is the hard point, right? We look at last season, they were, 9-2 or 9-3, something like that, if I remember correctly. They were like the second best hard point team in Europe, is the bottom line. Now they're 3-7. They're 6th overall in Europe, and I think that really accentuates just kind of what a change this has been for this team. And Andy, you and I, we've had many conversation about what the hell's going on with this Revenge Tour roster. Where are they kind of at right now? And I think you and I kind of boiled this down to the SMG pressure is just not the same as it was anymore. Denza brought so much to this team.
Yeah, they really did, and it's going to be this guy right here, Keza, that's really been, again, stepping up to the plate and trying their damnedest to make sure that this roster can at least remain relevant. Obviously, they won't be playing in playoffs this time around. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board and really figure things out. But, I mean, both you and I were pretty critical, or pretty big critics when it came down to Keza's play just last season, given that they were that OBJ submachine gun right behind Denza. I mean, if you're living in the shadow of Denza when you are their submachine gun duo, when they were playing on this Revenge Tour roster, it is very easy to say that. But you see that right there. Slayer rating still 84.41, not bad. Still positive across all three game modes. I think it just comes down to Keza finding that confidence within their own self to be a former of themselves, to be that slay-heavy submachine gun we know that they can be.
Yeah, absolutely. It is quite a jump, isn't it, going from a .95 in Season 1 to a stat leader on this team. Keza definitely making the difference right now. He has to fill the role that Denza was playing on this team. However, he's going up against a stacked Toronto Ultra Academy EU roster. They have also made a change, and it was definitely for the better. Last season, Andy, you and I, we looked at this roster and we were kind of running, why are you running 3 ARs in an MP40 meta? They have changed that up now. Weeman, of course, it was kind of surprising to me that Weeman, it's crazy, isn't it, that Weeman was the player that was dropped at the end of the day, because he is just so good at what he does in his role. But they do drop him for Furious. He was playing very well on Revenge Tour.
I think it comes down to just the team cohesion thing. You know, playing too fast, playing together is one simple aspect. But now you kind of allow Beans to play that role, that back-to-back flex AR role right next to Harry, and it makes the SMG presence that much more potent, right? You say what you will about Steve Vortex being at a .96, but it's not exactly something that you can sit there and be like, oh, Vortex is washed. No, he's just playing the role, playing that IGL type beat for that team that allows everybody to be able to slay all the way out. We'll talk more about Beans here in a second as we go over the stat list here, overall records for Ultra Academy EU. #1 search and destroy team. They are tied for first as far as control, 5-1 in that game mode, and they're a top 5 hardpoint team. Their map win-loss record speaks for itself. This team, after getting picked up by Ultra as itself as their European Academy team, and picking up Furious as well, have picked up a certain amount of pace that they were missing when they were playing with a 3AR team. Not that it was bad by any stretch of the imagination, but they are moving a little bit diffy across the map now.
And that stat, by the way, that S&D stat is perhaps the most jarring that you're going to see here in European challenges this season. They went, I think, from being, statistically speaking, the worst S&D team in European challenges to the best. It is insane how much of a difference this change has made to the roster. Of course, Furious is a great S&D player. Of course, everybody else has been elevated off the top of that. And we have to make a shout out to the coach of this team, Josh, as well, who no doubt has made a ton of changes to the team and has definitely improved the roster from that coaching standpoint. But the player I think that you and I really want to focus on here, the number one player in European challenges at the moment, is Ben Beans. He has improved so much from season 1. He was already a good player. Now he is a great player. 1.38 KD overall. He is playing out of his mind at the moment.
Do you think that 1.24 in hardpoint is something to be looking at? Dude, look at his search and destroy and control. Everything that Mr. McMillan has been doing across the map, Beans has been influential to this team's success. And it really does say a lot when you're thinking about when you're going back and watching this team play throughout season 1 when they were playing under the Money for moniker. Beans was actually picking up the second submachine gun more often than not right next to Vortex, but now is almost going back to their shades of Cold War where they are that AR flex. Yes, they are playing the automaton role right next to Harry whenever it is necessary, but Beans can be enabled. He gets one kill on an MP40 player, he picks up that enemy MP40, and then he just runs across the rest of the map and influences so many opportunities for this Ultra Academy team to be able to break inside hardpoints, to hold hardpoints, and to be able to find those first bloods in search and destroy. Beans has been able to truly do it all when it comes down to their overall stat line, and it comes across for the amount of success that this team has been able to find in search and destroy comparatively to where they were last season.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look over towards our map set then between these two teams to really talk about kind of what we expect out of this series. Of course, we are kicking things off on a Berlin hardpoint, followed up by Obakaj, Search and Destroy. Control on Tuscan will be our third map in the series. And then if we need them, we're going to a little Tuscan trilogy, hardpoint and for Search and Destroy from maps number 4 and 5, respectively. Andy, looking at this map set here, I mean, look, Toronto Ultra, we talked about how good they've looked in Search and Destroy, but actually hardpoint, they've gone from being one of the best hardpoint teams in Europe to actually that they've kind of lost a little bit of that vigor coming into season 2. I think they're now 5 and 4 overall.
I wouldn't put too much stock into it, to be completely candid with you, Brody. The simple fact, they're bringing on Coach Josh to be able to really take a keen look at some of the more integral game modes, and even specifically when you're thinking about Vortex, the IGL for this team, right, is that every single team that Vortex has always played on has always been a stellar 2-3-5 team, has always been a fantastic search and destroy team. So it's about making sure that they can fall back into their own of being a good search and destroy team, and the job has been well done. That if you're able to at least go 1 for 1 in the hard points across the best of 5 series, I think that's going to be okay. So long as you're in Vanguard, as long as you have 2, if not maybe even just 1 good hardpoint map, you'll probably end up seeing that in a best of 5 series in either 1 in 4. That it has to be the search and destroy was the immediate eyebrow raiser for this team when they were playing with Wee Man under the Money Form roster. And I think for this Ultra Academy EU team, when you are looking at the specified map set, it does pander to all your strengths. Obviously, the search and destroys are going to be something that we can talk about until Kingdom Come, in between the Bokaj and the Tuscan Search and Destroy. But the Berlin Hardpoint is going to be a big focus point for me personally, specifically for this Ultra Academy roster. They are 2-1. Their only loss to it was against Rocker Academy because, let's be candid here, it is their home. But for this Revenge Tour roster, it's about digging deep and being able to at least try to slay out. Again, Keza has slowly been progressing to become a whole lot better. And who's to say that they won't catch this Ultra Academy roster by surprise? I think they can definitely do it. It's just about making sure that they are at least showcasing their talents and abilities of what we saw from their former selves just last season.
Well, ultimately, we talked about Toronto's record here. Revenge Tours has got a lot worse. They need to win this hard point in the series, otherwise they will find themselves in a deep pile of doo-doo. Here we go, though, towards the hard point. It will be Revenge Tour who are able to touch onto the hard point first. Of course, keeping him from behind, though, is going to be Furious, the new addition to the lineup. He's able to pick up 2, give him 3. Why the hell not? As Chaxter tries to run away with his little legs through the mid-map, but he will not get far.
Well, that's a pretty good start for Furious. Finds 3 kills. Stevo hops up top and going to be able to at least cut down the rotation. Look at the zoning that is immediately coming through from the opening engagement as well from Ultra Academy EU. They start off on the favorite side here, Brody, which means they're going to more or less work through the upper courtyard, get inside the office first. But they don't just stop at just setting up inside P1. Vortex got all the way inside of Mail and was already cutting down players trying to rotate for Revenge Tour and try to get back to the middle of the map. back here with Vortex in a big isolated engagement through the small room. Keza will get the better of him this time around, but then we have to focus over towards the rotation, which Harry is already trying to take a look at. Big rotational gunfight on the Chaxter. Won't influence the spawns, not quite yet, but it's at least keeping Revenge Tour on their back foot, knowing that Ultra Academy are right around the corner.
Revenge Tour here, going to be spawning towards the back line. So Ultra Academy going to have to fight this one from the front as they continue to spawn over towards fire, over towards the main street. Can Steve-O do anything about this, though? He's found his way into the window. Peekaboo. He's able to pick up one, not another one, but it doesn't matter anyway, as Steve-O and Furious going to combine for 2 here. Ultra Academy continue to push Revenge Tour towards the back. Just 25 seconds left on this hill here. Starting to look a little bit like scrap time as Watson going to gun Beans towards that dock side. Of course, the problem is Revenge Tour now spawning up towards the backline with 15 seconds left. Whether or not they get the scrap time doesn't really matter to Ultra Academy EU. They've got themselves set up for that next hill, Andy.
No, Vortex is playing such a selfless role. It was just, the second that they spawned in, Brody, they were just kicking their feet up over by the upper courtyard, but winning that gunfight over by Old means that you're pushing too far close to the east side of the map, so Revenge Tour are essentially spawning in for P3, and they'll be here for the initial time. So Ultra Academy EU got to be a little bit frustrated, going to have to chalk that one up to almost extending too far for just some scrap time, but the break potential is certainly here. Harry's starting to work their way across the dock side, trying to influence the spawns as a little bit of haywire spawns are coming across the entirety of the map of Berlin.
Oh, Harry almost turns on the Shaxter there towards the street side. Of course, Mythic's now in the backline, might be able to manipulate the spawns. They don't know he's here. It's all going to come down to where these kills come from the front. Of course, Beans going to be sitting inside. Also has Steve-O in close proximity. Able to pick up one is Beans, but Mythic's is finally going to pounce here. Steve-O, what can you do about it, buddy? He's able to pick up 2 somehow. Ultra Academy EU survive all of that pressure. And this is, again, best case scenario for Ultra Academy EU here, as now Revenge Tour going to be spawning over towards the back line. Just 10 seconds left on this hill. Harry inside fire is causing all sorts of rotational problems for Revenge Tour. It is going to be Ultra Academy that touch first on this next hill.
Yeah, I mean, Mythics did everything they possibly could, holding their life on the backside of fire, and then immediately just made sure that the spawns were still influenced. Ultra Academy, they ended up spawning over by the concourse, so they were able to understand that and read that, which is why you ended up seeing at least Harry put themselves over inside that fire window and just dealing with the respawns trying to rotate all the way through. But as you said, they were able to get these spawns closer towards P4, and they are influencing it in kind. You gotta break through the concourse if you are Revenge Tour, and they are starting to do so. 2 for 2 goes the trades, but you still have these close spawns to try to reinforce of Ultra Academy. You know they're going to hit through this hard point to try to rotate through the middle.
On board with Ben Beans, of course, the star of the show for European ClutchGG so far in season number 2, the #1 stat leader here in EU. Unfortunately, will end up falling now for Steve-O. What can you do, buddy? Well, got a couple of players to deal with over towards Train. Maybe looking for a final touch on the kill. I think he's actually just going to give that one up to Furious as Steve-O playing Ring Around the Rosie around the Train platform. There are still threats around him. I think Steve-O's spidey senses will be tingling here. Unfortunately, not all that reactionary as Jax is able to take him down. Revenge Tour coming in with a couple of kills. Jax with a second in a row here, but a nade from Beans will take him down. And Revenge Tour, well, they do have these players trapped over towards the dock side. So that's a pretty good start here to this P5 hub.
It really is a fantastic bounce back, I would say, for Revenge Tour. I mean, Jaxter was somewhere near, like, what, like 2-7, 2-10, I think I saw it at one point. Bounces back, is now at 6-16. Again, not the sexiest KD ratio, but it's starting to become a little bit more activated. Mythics on a 5 spree, 17-10. Nice shots on the Beans will find number 6. One more kill away from getting themselves the glide bomb, and, well, at least getting themselves another tool for success to try to snowball the rest of this hard point. But the second they come through the side door, Beans will gun them down where they stand. At the end of the first set of hard points, it will be a very small lead for Ultra Academy EU, but the thing that they're doing ever so wonderfully is they're not just focused on the scrap time, Brody. They're also trying to rotate back over towards the office here for P1, and they're zoning away the backside of the upper courtyard. They'll have the closer spawns.
Ultra Academy are going to touch first here on this next set of rotations. Can they hold on to it, though, as Chaxter are going to be sitting inside. Watson now in from the flank as well, as his teammates assault in the front of the hard point will end up falling. I think Watson finds himself kind of stuck as a lone island, if you will, on that Concord side. And he does get taken down. So Ultra Academy here are going to be gaining quite a bit of time early on onto this hardpoint. Revenge Tour, perhaps one more hit left in this. But again, it's this zoning that you love to see, Andy. Ultra Academy EU doing so well at pushing players out of the hardpoint. Even players inside are being effective.
Yeah, it's proactive hardpoint coming through from Ultra Academy. They're not overextending either. Look, they're fully understanding that they're everybody from Revenge Shore spawning in the backside of Fire, but they did not expect that Watson went and played the entirety of the route. Look at the spawns coming through from Revenge Shore. Watson spawned all the way up in for P3 essentially, and they fully wrapped all the way around on the backside of the warehouse, which is why you're seeing all the red arrows spawn on the bottom right-hand side of the minimap. So you will have closer spawns coming through for P2 if you are Revenge Shore. The only issue is with that play that did end up coming through, you gave up what felt like maybe like 45, 50 seconds on P1 in favor for the Ultra Academy EU camp. So now you have to hold this hard point. You went for broke, but Beans is starting to break in. Found kill number 6. Finding themselves in a position to maybe get kill number 7. Mythics up top of the warehouse will shut it down. So no glide bombs for either of these two teams. But Revenge Shore, job well done. Mitigates the pressure that Ultra Academy EU were layering on in from the front. And they should be able to at least hold the back 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think, well, this has been a pivotal moment here in this game. Ultra Academy holding that full 60 on the last set. Now Revenge Tour coming back in with what could well be a full 60 of their own. Nicely done from Watson, Chaxter, and Mythics here as they continue to hold in this time. Hey, look, it's that full 60 we were talking about, Andy. I think Revenge Tour might have been removed for, what, 3 or 4 seconds, but that is all they will lose on that hard point as now we start to focus in on this rotation. It is Toronto Ultra Academy EU. They are here first. Harry and Beans going to combine for 2 over towards this dock side. They are making sure they do not lose the spawns around the backline. They let Mythics in last time.
And Mythics play their life to such a high degree going through the first set of hard points. So now Revenge Shore have to do it from the front. Great opening engagements will be coming through from Revenge Shore, but the hit through the front will actually be successful. The spawns are actually going to end up flipping. You can see Keza spawns in on that crane. There's still a lot of time to be battling over here at 3.
You can't let this time go away to Revenge Tour. This has been a crucial break for this roster. Watson now in the mid-map, able to pick up that kill onto Stevo. Furious in for a 1. Is it enough, though? This is realistically 25 seconds that you don't quite want to give away at the same time. You can't really afford to flip spawns at this point in the game. Chaxter on a 7 spree. We're talking about the bounce back that this man has had, looking for kill number 8. Will not find it, but crucially does get the glide bomb. Toronto fighting for the last 15 seconds of time, and they might well get it as Revenge Tour going to continue to spawn in the back line. For Ultra Academy, you're having your cake and you're eating it too. You're not giving away all of that time to Revenge Tour, and you're holding on the spawns for new.
Revenge Tour are looking great through the second set of hard points. Mythics 26 and 21, 17 and 18 for Watson. Those are overall your kill leaders for Revenge Tour, and even from top to bottom, you look on the opposite side, they're actually getting slayed out. Remember when I said that Chaxter was like 2 and 10? Yeah, they got themselves a glide bomb, by the way, 16 and 22. Again, not the sexiest KD ratio, but they are turning things around. Nice shots on the Beans up top. They're winning the rotation of the backside of the warehouse. Big gunfight on the back. Mythics had Furious weak as hell, and they will clean up that kill to boot. 30 seconds remaining here on 4, and Revenge Tour is starting to build themselves a little bit of a lead.
That's a second break here in a row that Revenge Tour wanted, as they now are in for the last 25 to 30 seconds of time. This is a huge chunk that Ultra Academy EU don't really want to give up, and that's why you're seeing Furious and Stevo pushing this so aggressively. 15 seconds now for Chax to potentially get. Bean's going to take him down, and this is a good position for Toronto Ultra Academy EU. They're reading these spawns. They know that Revenge Tour are going to be spawning over towards the back line, and now for Beans. Can he start to really apply all of this pressure? I think gets a little bit overzealous here. That will allow a couple of players to break on out, and I think Ultra Academy now know that they no longer have as much of a vice on these spawns. Look at those Revenge Tour players that are coming on the flank, Andy.
Yeah, this is massive. They're playing very mixy hardpoint, where Ultra Academy EU have been playing fundamental hardpoint, very reserved hardpoint, if you will, Brody. Revenge Tour are just living in the mix, and they're putting Ultra Academy EU in the blender. 196 v 174, going in towards another P5, where it's very hard to be able to give yourself ample time in towards your bank, but way that the slays are starting to favor Ultra Academy EU. They got players top 3rd inside mail. They're also reading that there are Revenge Tour members coming out from the backside of the train station, but they're unable to find the gunfights. Now, if you're Revenge Tour, getting inside the hardpoint is one thing, but being able to find the constant slays and keeping Ultra Academy EU at bay ahead of the 3rd set of hardpoints is another thing.
Oh, Beans hit. Crucial fight over towards the Concord as Revenge Tour going to get not just a scrap time, but the rotation towards new. This is an incredibly intense game here between these two teams. Ultra Academy, they haven't been quite as proficient at breaking as Revenge Tour are, but now they will need to really dig deep and get their break on. Keep an eye on Stevo. Potentially putting together a crucial flank here while Watson continues to look down the back line. Here we go. Vortex in on the flank. He's just been spotted out. Does he win the 1v1 anyway? No, he doesn't. Mythic's going to lose it, but it doesn't matter as Beans and Furies combined for 4. That is a break from Ultra Academy EU. A necessary one at this point in the game.
The Ultra Academy, through 3 different sets, P1 has been their big old money hill, which is surprising to say the least, even through the opening engagements. They can do no wrong. I mean, Revenge Tour haven't won a gunfight ever since Mythics cut down Vortex on that backside of the upper courtyard and then reappears to take down Vortex yet again. Now Kez is trying to become activated. It's another 3-for-1 trade coming through. A late break is what is going to be required. Revenge Tour are going to be able to find it. Most importantly, you have to be looking at the rotation. Vortex is trying to make the heads-up play across the docks. Is anybody going to read this? Mythics is cutting down players over on the backside of the docks, but Vortex might slip the net and get him for free.
Mythics here. Stevo, can he do anything? Here we go. There's the first kill onto Chaxter, and that should be it. Toronto now should spawn in on this side of the map. They will do. Over towards the train station. Vortex, I think, still has quite a bit to do. Nice nade onto Mythics to take that player out. Just 20 seconds away. Our Ultra Academy, Harry looking for 2. He loses the fight inside Broken for Revenge Tour. A player in from behind now. Can Mythics do anything? Furious on the hard point. There's the kill from Mythics. Looking for another one. 42. He will not find it, but Revenge Tour now in for this time. It could all still end here, but Ultra Academy, a wave of gunfights in their favor. Furious in for 2 now as well. Ultra Academy, a wave of kills to keep Revenge Tour out, and now Furious sitting in the corner, able to get 3 as Ultra Academy looking to close us out here, and now they're still able to. A couple more kills coming through. Can anybody from Revenge Tour touch the hill? Mythics, he can. Can he get 2? Yes, he can. What is going on? They're able to stop this for another hard point, but it doesn't matter anyway. Ultra Academy at the better side of the map. They're able to close things out here in the final hard point, but what an insane closer to map number 1 in this best of 5.
It was probably a lot closer than I'm sure Ultra Academy EU wanted, especially after they got what felt maybe about 180 of their total points off of P1 in all 3 sets. You can even look from top to bottom. Again, heavily outslayed, I would say, was this Revenge Tour roster outside of Mythics, who drops 44 real kills. 26 of those eliminations were not traded. Keep in mind, he was averaging about 460 damage per hill. That is quite a bit. But even still, Ultra Academy were playing that nice, reserved, and fundamental hardpoint, Brody, where they were always making sure that these nips, or these little bit of nets were being slipped and kind of being pinched off continuously, and Revenge Tour really didn't have an answer for it, even from the front. You can see Keza, 19 and 32, a non-benefactor, in my opinion, to try to break these hardpoints from the front, but even when Revenge Tour were finding themselves even holding a lot of these hills, they were getting broken up continuously. Why was that? It was because Ultra Academy were always fishing out these opportunities to be able to work their way on the pinch. Most importantly, Vortex throughout that final set, Brody, to be able to get these favored spawns even for the initial time. And even when they lost the spawns there at the very end, it happened twice on over, whether it was looking at P1, whether it was looking at P2 there at the end, or even P3 in the second set. Ultra Academy were always playing that 4D chess, knowing that they had to hold those close spawns when there was about 10 seconds remaining in the final hill.
P1 saved them. That's all I can say there. Revenge Tour doing a really good at drop at breaking, and you mentioned it in the middle of the game, right? Ultra Academy, we had 3 P1s, and they got the majority time with basically every single one. Beautifully done by Ultra Academy to make the decisions in the end that gets them the win. And Revenge Tour, I mean, that was a very important map in the series. As we look over towards our map set, we can see the final scoreline there for Berlin Hardpoint, 250 to 238. We now move our attention over towards Bakage, Search, and Destroy. And you look at it, Toronto Ultra Academy EU, how good they've been in Search and Destroy, how good they've been in Control this season thus far. They're 6-2 in S&D, Andy. They're 5-1 in Control. That is such a massive map victory for Toronto Ultra Academy U, because now it potentially paves the way in this series for a 3-0.
Yeah, it very much so might. I mean, when you're thinking about this Revenge Tour roster, especially for the pickup of Chaxter, the biggest thing that they had coming away from Season 1 when they were playing on their former roster was on Tusken Search and Destroy, where they were able to find, what was it, that last-minute ace to be able to find a contest. And I think that this has to be almost a callback for this Revenge Tour roster, because Search and Destroy, albeit they were the second-best hardpoint team, was always such a position where they were able to maybe always try to beckon for 3-0s back when they were having Denza play with them. Now we put ourselves in a position where it's a must-needed Search and Destroy win for Revenge Tour if they still want to be able to, make an argument against this Ultra Academy EU roster. But you already said it. this is going to be an absolute uphill battle, because going into Tuscan, out of all the search and destroys that they have played for Ultra Academy EU, 6-2 overall. They're 3-1 on the map itself. They have 6-4 wins versus Sukari's Bakery, 6-4 win versus Vengeance, a 6-2 blowout versus Sukari's Bakery, and a round 11 loss versus Rocker Academy. They feel right at home, and you know that Josh has been grinding Search and Destroy into these players' skulls to be a mainstay for them, because Search and Destroy, where it was when they were money form, was a non-benefactor of a game mode. Now they're putting themselves in a position where they can be a very strong Search and Destroy team, that if they can walk away with a map 1 win like this, you're absolutely right, Brody. It's very much so could be a 3-0.
Yeah, absolutely it could. However, I think this is a map choice that Revenge Tour will be happy with. Let's take a look at Harry, because I do want to talk about this player. In Search and Destroy, he has an incredible KD for this team, a 1.93. Of course, again, this is week 1 stats, which is probably an asterisk on this. Just incredible. But I think a stat that we're not actually going to be able to show you guys here is that he has a 100% first blood win percentage. I wrote in my notes here, and I know that you saw this again because we share our notes page. That is nuts. Like, to not lose a first blood and have played 6 matches across the season thus far. Of course, technically it would be 5 because, again, the stats aren't there from yesterday's match. Like, mate, I am, in Nameless's words, mind blown. This guy is insane. The one thing I will say is that might not necessarily apply as much when it comes to Bacage, because Bacage is probably going to be the map that you want if you're Revenge Tour to stop Harry from sniping you right off the rip.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wanna extend on that point, just talking about the 100% first blood ratio. It doesn't mean that Harry is finding every single first blood every single part of the time. Every single time that Harry is getting into an initial gunfight at the beginning of the round, they win it. And that's what's even more. They've gotten in total of, what was it, 11 total engagements first across the map to be able to get that 100% first blood ratio when they do find that first initial look of things. And that does say a lot, especially for an AR caliber for Harry at 1.93 overall KD for Search and Destroy. They are one of the main reasons on why this team of Ultra Academy EU is always arguing to be one of the best, if not the best, Search and Destroy team that we currently have in Europe right now, Brody. And we got to see it a lot through the Cup this past weekend, Cup number 7, where this exact Ultra Academy EU roster not only beat Rocker Academy once in Winners Finals, but also did it in Grand Finals as well. It was the Search and Destroy that really did it for me, and it was always Harry that wasn't playing that up in their face instigator role. They were just always reading the enemy team of Rocker Academy like a book. And the same thing has been happening throughout the entirety of Season 2, where Harry just seems to be one step ahead of the enemy team, where they're always putting themselves in positions to be able to find those first bloods. The knowledge across all these maps for this player is why they are a substitute player for a CDL team. And when you're backing that up with the strong pedigree that is Vortex and Search and Destroy through how many Call of Duty's numbers pass, I can't even keep track of it. I have to take off my socks to even give you a number. It's one of those things that makes this Ultra Academy EU roster so much more deadly going into playoffs. Again, already guaranteed to see them there, and now they got an opportunity to be able to get even stronger.
Yeah, every player is positive when we look at the Search and Destroy stats for this team. I think that on its own is something special to behold, right? And we were talking about earlier about Beans being the player to watch. I mean, he in Search and Destroy 1.42 KD. He is always contributing towards this roster. And it is just insane, I think, to look at the difference between Season 1 and Season 2, to look at the Search and Destroy. Because, honestly, in Season 1, I genuinely don't mind saying this. I know players are going to bite my head up, but Money Form looked like headless chickens on the map. They didn't really look well put together whatsoever. And I don't even think that was down to the composition of the roster, right? To the fact that they did ultimately have 3 AR players on the team. I just don't think they look well put together. I think they needed some organization. They have worked really hard, quite clearly, on their Search and Destroy coming into Season 2. Either that, or they've magically kind of blindfolded find their way into being an incredible S&D team. They look much, much better now, and now they want to get a 2-0 series advantage versus Revenge Tour with a Search and Destroy victory here. Of course, as we said though, Revenge Tour, if this is kind of their pick, if you will, coming from the veto process, it is a good pick to make sure this map stays into the rotation, because it will be the one where Harry is least effective with those snipes. Although, honestly, at this point, mate, wouldn't be surprised if he still brings it out here on Bacage.
Yeah, I mean, let's be candid here. A sniper can still be effective when you're thinking about that P2 cross lane across the tank formation or over by the Riverwalk. Sniper can absolutely be utilized, but the Automaton might just be as effective. It will be the offense for Ultra Academy EU to start things off. And, well, they're getting aggressive. We know Furious likes to be the instigator. Keza will reappear through the side door out from top plat. Numbers advantage in favor of the defense.
Well, it's now 1v2 for Beans. He is taken down, and just like that, it's going to be Revenge Tour starting first. And that was a venomous start overall from Ultra Academy. The kind of the pace they hit that A site didn't work out for them this time, Andy.
Yeah, I think it was a triple SMG setup that ended up coming through for Ultra Academy EU. Almost looked like they were trying to break inside of P3 on Bokaj Hardpoint, but they try to be the instigator. It's almost like a heat check, right? When you load into a Bokaj Search and Destroy versus Revenge Tour, who started off on defense, to see, like, are you going to be aware? Are you going to be checking through this front door? Are you going to be playing stall-worthy? Top Grandmas was not the case. Revenge Tour were more than ready to be able to play the trade game and give themselves that numbers advantage. Nice little nerdy peek coming through from Traxter to at least clear the top gate side. A lot of presence on the north side of the map. The only player that's not here right now for Revenge Tour is Watson over by the Riverwalk. Maybe try to get themselves a little bit of a pinch effect, if not try to break inside of Grandma's on the opposite side.
These guys just getting a feel for each other right at the moment. Somebody has to give way sooner rather than later, and there you go. It's Vortex and take out Traxter. So 4 versus 3 we go now. The bomb kind of stuck in the mid-map. Gets even worse as well, doesn't it? It's Furious going to take down the late pusher that is Mythix. Now for Keza and Watson. 2 versus 4 is what you've got in your plate. That bomb, again, is stranded in the mid-map. A bit of a sticky situation here are these players, but Watson is going to grab that bomb, Andy. This will be now more realistic, but you got to find some way to even the odds.
Watson's clearing this with an automaton. That's not exactly the weapon you want for here. Switches to the rat pistol just for a little bit of a speed boost, but they lose Kez on the back end. Watson does have that bomb, as you were talking about, is going to try to climb up this ladder. And there's just so many more players for Ultra Academy that you have to try to cut all the way through by the time that Watson even finds themselves. His engagement should be traded out immediately, and that will be absolutely the case. Just an uphill battle, to say the least. And what you saw there from Revenge, or at least through the opening ramp, you saw the presence in the middle of the map, some stray shots coming through on 2 different sides. But when those stuns and nades that were starting off that round for Revenge Short don't connect, and they get such a nominal amount of information, it's just so hard to be able to try to brute force your way off of just like sound cues. That door did burst open. Keza could not lock down that kill inside of tools, and because of that, they were just trying to fish out kills. And defensively, you will be able to collect off that information a whole lot more effectively than you will on offense.
All aggression once again here for Ultra Academy. Steve-O looking up towards that window. He knows that's where Mythix is going to be. Shots do come through, but ultimately the pre-fire is all for naught here. The trade's going down, and now Steve-O, well, up and out he goes. Mythix gets yoinked out of that window so quickly. Now for Watson and Traxter, 2 versus 3 we go. Perhaps Watson can do something over towards the street, but fortunately he crossed it without looking. And now for Traxter, 1 versus 3. The new boy on the block for Revenge Tour. Can he do it? No, he cannot. Ultra Academy gonna win a round here.
Not a triple SMG setup, but it was a very standardized offense when you're thinking about it. They left Beans all the way in the back, over by the stalls, over by the shed, just watching the middle of the map. And Harry just had one role and keep in mind. It was just to bring the automaton, get up on top of that little perch that is on the left side of the barn, the offensive team. And when they were up there, you get a nice line of sight over on the backside of the plat that leads leads down towards the water wheel. They found that first and then cut down the reinforcements to the middle of the map before Beans even ever saw anybody, and that allowed Vortex to find themselves on 5 in a row. 2 kills away from a glide bomb. Watson will just yeet a nade into the stratosphere, get out with their life, but at least they know that there's presence here defensively all the way down by B. That's going to allow Traxter to break into A very quickly and plant the bomb.
The bomb now down. 35 seconds left on the clock here. Furious. Oh, okay. Furious. Oh, come on, mate. That's, well, it is what it is, isn't it? Watson going to take some extra bullets into the body now. Just Traxter left up 1 versus 3. He gets the first kill, looking for the second. Steve-O can't find it. And, well, fortunately for Furious, the bullets in the body will be warranted. It's going to be a win here for Ultra Academy.
Gotta love the animosity. Love EU Call of Duty. And just no hesitation. Just immediately just gets 1 kill, shoots the body immediately, saying, hey, we are that team now, pal. I mean, you remember Revenge Tour was that team, even when Furious was playing on the originals. They'd completely eliminate them. They were playing in playoffs in that lower bracket stint. Same thing could even be said about Ultra Academy EU when they were playing against Revenge Tour, when they were still playing up against Denza, that almost kind of nullified their push and their dreams to be able to be a playoff team. It was Beans, Harry, Stevo, and Weedman. Now another offense coming through. Stevo does have streaks, keep in mind, you. Biggest question is, when is that going to be coming out? You can see what it means for Revenge Tour defensively. They're respecting a lot of the space. There's actually 2 players down over by River. Stevo's going to be able to convey that information calling in the glide bomb.
And it is going to land as well onto Watson here. So Stevo's great search and destroy performance will prove pretty good for Ultra Academy here as they're able to draw first blood in this one. Harry's going to accentuate that as well with the kill onto Chaxter. So now Keza and Mythics left up 2 versus 4. Can Mythics do anything? Well, he can do something. It's going to be die here in this round. Keza left up 1 versus 4. He's been a pretty positive force for this Revenge Tour side this season. Won't be able to bring that positivity into a round here.
Vortex is 10-1, man. Remember when I was sitting there just talking about the narrative, just like, Stevo has always been historically amazing at search and destroy. The timings that he is getting off the information from Harry and Beans holding these crosses, and knowing that he can almost essentially just pick up off of Furious's information when they're running up the gut, it's just enabling Vortex to be that search and destroy player yet again. Inside the window, what a read coming out from Stevo to find kill number 11. It's all just falling apart for Revenge Tour. Keza spotted out. Stevo says, I got him, guys. No problem at all. Ultra Academy EU just running amok on Revenge Tour.
Yeah, I was being pretty positive about the pick. And yeah, I was like, yeah, this has been a pretty good pick overall from Revenge Tour to get Bakaji.
Your optimism is noted.
Set. Yeah, look, I was being optimistic, mate. And so far, Ultra Academy here proving why it doesn't matter what map they play on. Their search and destroy has been beautiful. And Stevo, massive proponent of this. 12-1, by the way. He's already used the glide bomb. Doesn't really matter. Ultra Academy here looking to put a closer on things here in round number 7. Mythics will draw first blood, though. The Ultra Academy train going to be stopped temporarily as Furious will end up falling, and the aggression is met with a full-blown stop here. Revenge Tour not getting them the 6-1 victory.
You got to respect it. Again, you almost have to feel the frustration when it comes out of Revenge Tour. You had 2 players getting aggressive over by the Riverwalk again, but the moment that those pushes aggressively was coming through, and rightfully so for Ultra Academy EU. I mean, they've been finding so much value on just continuously pushing into the faces of Revenge Tour and have been walking away with highway robbery, really. Stevo at 12-2 just kind of exclaims that one point within its own self. Finally get themselves back on the board, and here comes Vortex, and the Automaton has 2 more players to be able to deal with. A 1-for-2 trade, numbers advantage for the offense.
Well, it is now Watson left up, and just like that, Watson going to get taken out of the game. Ultra Academy able to put closer on things in round number 8, but that scoreline pretty dominant for the Ultra Academy side.
Oh, that's how that happened.
They will be happy with that one for sure.
We had 1,000 damage. That felt like a speed run. Brody, read that game time. We were here for less than 5 minutes. Look, I know Bocage is a small map, but even still, the simple fact of Ultra Academy getting away with those highway robbery plays 5 rounds in a row just exclaims the veracity and confidence that this Ultra Academy E roster is playing with on Search and Destroy now. They have every single read. They have the commitment and execution of one of the best Search and Destroy teams that we have seen in EU Challengers in quite some time, Brody, and it is paying dividends. And it's enabling Stevo to be able to be that player that we know that Vortex can absolutely be. And it's all off the crossing information, knowing that Beans is able to cover the entirety of the flank with an Automaton. Harry's watching through the middle of the map. It's fundamentally strong Search and Destroy. And I feel like a broken record here. I'm saying the same thing about their hard point, and it's just being exemplified again in the Search and Destroy. That Stevo is just kind of following around on the information that Furious finds when they are up close and personal. And then the second that Stevo just has the read and at least a little bit of lick of information on where the next player is coming from, he just collects, man. It's just impressive stuff coming through. The night and day experience that is this Ultra Academy EU roster comparatively when they were playing under Money Form in Season 1.
It is something, isn't it? You know, again, that is a very different search and destroy from Ultra Academy. And again, we were talking about what was kind of missing in season 1, right? And a lot of it was down to kind of the chemistry of the roster, the way that they were playing as a team. Sometimes you kind of see these disjointed pushes coming out of Toronto Ultra Academy. You, of course, then known as Money Form. That's not happening here. Everything they're doing together. It's like watching the Teletubbies, as Search and Destroy and Picage will be going the way. You know what's the Teletubbies? They do everything as a team, man.
I'm not
They're
gonna
like
lie,
a better Power Ranger.
As a kid, the Teletubbies scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
That doesn't surprise me somehow. Anyway, regardless, Teletubbies or not, Search and Destroy Picage will go the way of Toronto Ultra Academy EU. Now 2-0 up in the series. We said this was starting to look a little bit like a 3-0. I think that might be the case here. We're going into control on Tuscan. Look, you never want to call it before it's happened, but I mean, what? They haven't lost to Tuscan yet. Toronto Ultra Academy EU, they've played it twice, and they won both occasions, but they're 5-1 overall in control. Something about this Toronto roster on control, they are just very, very good here.
I think it's just how decisive they are. So if you take how fundamentally they're sound on hardpoint, their commitments, their executes that we just saw in Search and Destroy, that's kind of like how you can almost play it out for control, or almost, I guess, perceive it if you are new to European Challengers, this is your first time watching Ultra Academy EU, is that their break potential that you saw continuously on hardpoint, their commitments in executing on their initial plans when everybody was respawning into the map in Search and Destroy, you kind of put that all together for this Ultra Academy EU roster, and then you got yourself what they're probably going to look like and what have looked like on control this entire season. You're absolutely right to call out the one main focus point for this Toronto Ultra Academy EU roster. They've only played Tuscan Control twice, and they won them both. 3-1 win versus Vengeance and a 3-2 win versus the Originals. Their only loss on Control was actually a round 5 burner on Sucre's Bakery, which I think was a little bit of a miscall, in my opinion, that they did not read the lives correctly. But even still, for Revenge Tour, this is their most rehearsed control map. They've only played Tuscan Control. They're 2-4 overall on the map mode itself, with some pretty steep losses, even specifically versus the Originals, which I'm sure is going to haunt them for sure. But you almost have to go back to what was their biggest success, going back to that Berlin hardpoint, because there wasn't really a lot to talk about of success for Revenge Tour on that Bocage Search and Destroy, and that was just living in the mix, being able to almost rely on Mythics to be able to keep the play alive and extend it. And keep in mind, they were doing a lot of that with the Automaton, and I'm not gonna lie here, Brody, this is almost the same conversation that you and I had when we were talking about the Originals, but it all started and stemmed from this Revenge Tour roster. I think you have to allow Mythics to be that guy, that if you no longer have Denza continuously building and exercising the pressure point and pushing it that much further, if Mythics is doing it with an Automaton, just imagine the amount of pressure he's going to be able to do with an MP40. I think that this needs to be the immediate look at for Revenge Tour, and if he wins the opening breakoff across that ruined side and picks it up in MP40, I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared to be able to see what they might be able to do on the map.
I don't know. It's tough.
I'm being the optimistic one now. It's me. It's my turn. My turn.
Yeah, I'm infectious, right? No, honestly, I don't know about this, Andy. I want to be there with you to say, hey, look, Mythics can play the role that Denza's playing. But, like, for me, if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Keza. He's played extremely well. He's got a 1.07 here in control this season thus far. He's definitely going to be the player to watch for me. I mean, looking at this, right, Watson has also played pretty well. His AR pressure is something to behold, and I think, he's going to have to try and keep these players at bay. But it's going to be tough because Toronto Ultra Academy EU, even though they're generally speaking a pretty AR-heavy team, the addition of Furious onto this roster, we already knew that Beans could play with an SMG as well. That is something that we probably should know. You've got Vortex, you've got Furious, both pretty mean and lean SMG players. They can be a problem that Revenge Tour will have to deal with here as we look over towards this control. It is going to be Revenge Tour kicking things off first as they make their way over towards A. And Jackster, I mean, he had a feeling that somebody was coming from maps, but well, he couldn't do anything about it.
And I'll at least confirm that there are 2 players that are going to be coming across that entire side. There's still presence for Revenge Tour on this A site. Stevo is still hitting the flank, by the way, and Keza tried to deal with it. Then Jackster was up on top of you, tried to deal with it as well. It'll finally be Mythics off the respawn that will finally cut Stevo short from finding any more pressure, but off of that, Revenge Tour are going to try to take that animosity and run it down over towards B. Watson's in the back, does find one. That's going to be Vortex up top, but they have no pressure up on top radio anymore. Now that Keza's gone down, it's just Watson on the play.
And Ultra Academy EU, well, they do clear out B, of course. It's all good for Revenge Tour, as now they're able to zone off around A. Getting that progression slowly but surely. They're making sure all of their angles are covered. Mythic's going to win that first engagement versus B. And unfortunately, though, for Revenge Tour, they lose the ones around the back. It's all Trackster left up on his lonesome on the point. Can he do anything? Absolutely not. And this time, the key difference is that Ultra Academy have control of the map here, Andy. They're making sure the Revenge Tour do not spawn over towards rooftops. This is the pressure you love to see from Ultra.
Yeah, you absolutely do. I mean, look, Ultra Academy EU, if you're walking away from watching the Hardpoint and the Search and Destroy, you know that Ultra Academy EU have the better gunnies. They're absolutely smoking Revenge Tour on every single opportunity that they have. Furious is on 5. Hey, how's it going? I am the door now, son. Ends up at least seeing one more through the window. Will finally be traded out, so no streaks in the back pocket for Ultra Academy EU. It's the smaller W's that you might be looking at if you're Revenge Tour, but they simply cannot get out of their spawn for free.
And now, of course, you've got Vortex coming in from behind. Will he get caught timing? Nope, he won't. There's the first gun. Jack's to look for the second against Mythics. Will not find it, but unfortunately, the full frontal assault on towards B has dissipated. Just 7 seconds left. We need to see some heroics coming out of this Revenge Tour roster. And I tell you what, this is brave from Revenge Tour, because they kind of know at this point, well, you know, we're down by 10 lives, where they're still going for it somehow. Keza trying to dance with Furious. Unfortunately, he's got 2 left feet, so will end up falling. And now, of course, just a couple of players left alive in this one. Watson and Traxter, now just the former. Watson, can you try and put a couple of lives in your favor? No is the answer. Ultra Academy, that's a dominant victory in round number 1.
Yeah, I mean, it was chalked the second that I saw about 15, 20 seconds remaining for Revenge Tour trying to make an offensive push happen. They were down by, what, 8 lives at that point, Brody? And then they just overcommit, try to maybe extend the clock with no respawns remaining. Keep in mind, we're not playing on the patch. That tick progression will be the round 5 defensive favor. It's still overall eliminations. You have to be able to recognize that early on, but Ultra Academy are just having their way. Nice set nade to open things off from Mythics on the opposite side. Will at least mitigate the pressure that Ultra Academy EU were looking through on the A on the opening rip.
Now for Ultra Academy, can he continue this pressure? It's Stevo inside Church. He's only able to pick up 1, but I really like this from Ultra Academy. They're putting quite a bit of pressure over towards B, while Furious is kind of drawing these players out on towards A. And Revenge Tour, I think they kind of sniffed out that something was a little bit suspect. They are now going to try and clear out both points, but here comes Ultra Academy. They're on towards B. You've got Beans in the back line covering this tank. He's able to pick up 1. Players over towards Cut as well, winning their engagements. Watson, he's only able to get 1 before falling. And Ultra Academy here, I mean, it's just the fact that they're even pressuring this area, right? That is the problem for Revenge Tour.
Yeah, they're trying to do it off of kills alone, but the biggest thing to be considerate of is that they're constantly just stopping out that clock. You can see Beans over by that A zone is keeping it stalled out at 1 minute and 3 seconds, slowly working up that second tick of progress. Ultra Academy are trying to fish out kills to the backside of Church, and they won't be allowed to do so. No entry point for free. Now Watson might find themselves some timing in the back, has a submachine gun, keep in mind you. Furious will cut them down over by the well, and this should be the A zone fully secured for Ultra Academy EU, adding an extra 60 seconds on the board, and they don't exactly have an extensive life lead. Well, they don't anymore at all. Revenge Tour are doing a great job at just making sure that they find these exit kills and won't allow Ultra Academy to get mid-map.
He has fallen by the wayside. About 2 minutes on the clock here. Harry, of course, does have a streak to go in the back pocket. The glide bomb could be used on the offense. We've seen it time and time again here in Vanguard. That glide bomb being used to grab B. You might well see it from Harry here, mate. I know when these streaks are coming in. Don't you worry about it, Andy. Yes, this now streak will clear out the back line. Mythic should end up falling, but not before he does take down Bean. So there is something in for Revenge Tour. That will slow this push up ever so slightly, but the problem is Ultra Academy U have found their way into the back line. Mythics, he ain't bothered about it, mate. He's able to get that kill. Keza now clears it out, and this is... It's coming up all top trumps for Revenge Tour, isn't it? They're able to pull that glide bomb away for Ultra Academy U, and they clear the point.
It is not going unnoticed. That was not easy shots that Mythics was able to find off of the back tank head glitch that Stevo was on, and they had the entire read, right? I mean, the entire play was use the glide bomb, get in the backside of Church, force the spawns over by grass, and then you're able to maybe at least go 1 for 1, find a double kill on the backside, and really start tacking on some progression over by B. But as you say, Mythics just doesn't give a hoot. Now you got Shaxter on a 6 spree. Started off this entire map mode on something ever so slightly than what they were looking at before, and they might find some time to get in behind the play to be able to find kill number 7 in a glide bomb of their own.
Shaxter in from behind. Oh, no! Furious, I think that's one of those times that you can listen to the body. Of course, Jackster is now stopped short of the glide bomb. Just 30 seconds left on the clock here. There's perhaps one more push left in this for Ultra Academy EU, and it all falls on the shoulders of whether or not Stevo is able to do any damage in the backline. He is not, so 20 seconds left. Revenge Tour are now going to push up here. They want to get some extra kills out of this round. Unfortunately, that aggression will give away 1 kill towards Beans. But Ultra Academy put down to their final 4 lives. I think if you're Ultra Academy EU in this position, if you can get any extra kills, great, but don't give anything away for free. And actually, Furious comes in to buy the kill against Keza, but he doesn't have enough change to get it. And Revenge Tour here will end up winning the round. I don't think that is enough kills there to quite even out the situation versus Toronto Ultra Academy EU, though.
No, not quite, not at all. Not after a plus 13 round that Revenge Tour or that Ultra Academy EU had on that previous defense. But I think the biggest walkaway above everything is that Ultra Academy EU. I'm sure as smart as these players are, we're probably tracking that Shaxter was on that very spree of their own, very close to getting themselves the glide bomb. Does not get it, and that could end up being a benefactor for Ultra Academy EU, depending on how this offense starts off. No mid-map coverage actually coming through from Ultra Academy. They're trying to play for these set nades, but Revenge Tour immediately just bull rush their way across the ruin side, get presence over by the A zone. They're losing numbers, though. The trade game is absolutely sublime for Ultra Academy EU, wiping these players off the A zone, not allowing any extra progression to come through.
Revenge Tour. First wave of kills will be going in their favor. They should now have no problem capping A. And Ultra Academy, I think they kind of recognize that. Now just playing a little bit defensively over towards B. Harry in the backline able to pick up one of these kills. He is just going to basically guarding that back point. And actually, as Revenge Talk here, not able to get those kills over towards Grass. Kez will be left up all on his lonesome one towards the point, able to pick up that first kill against Harry. This point should fall by the wayside, and it will do. But look at the positioning from Ultra Academy EU. Proactive as ever. Now they kind of need to instruct a flank here to make sure they keep Revenge Tour away from Church.
Watson even had the read too, but just a moment's too late. Beanzer was already had them in the center of their crosshairs, but the play is happening from behind. That's over by the ruin side, but because you're having a position over by Vines, Ultra Academy are actually forcing all of Revenge Tour to spawn over by rooftops, so they're going to start flooding through P5, but it's okay because you're coming and flying into the waiting arms of Harry, who has themselves on a 4 spree, but the communication's still coming through. There's still 2 players in Church.
90 seconds on the clock here for Revenge Tour. They've got quite a lot of time to make this work. You're going to get past Vortex in the backline. Mate, Vortex at the moment, he is just facing a white screen. He has been stunned 3 times over. And, well, Mythix, of course, should get the kill off the back of that, and he does. Now, Furious in the backline, though. You can't get past Furious. I got a feeling Furious is going to put bullets in the bodies in a second here. If he gets a 3rd kill, maybe even a 4th as well. A couple more players to get here towards the backline. There's number 3, number 4. Not that far away as Keza ends up falling towards Beans elsewhere as well. All of this pressure that Revenge Tour are trying to mount towards the backline, it fails time and time again because Ultra Academy EU so good at dealing with it.
Yeah, and that one-dimensional hit is going to come back to haunt Revenge Tour. Look, in the way that you typically end up having it work, it's very rare that you can full flood on the backside of Church. Mythix actually calls in the glide bomb. Could end up enabling this push to finally come all the way through. You got presence down the B ramp, but someone needs to get up in top bunks. Player number 2 that just spawned up for Chaxter needs to pick up top bunks because Stevo's already going to be here. Did they find any pressure? No. That was a crazy gunfight that came through, but the nades are coming in. The stack was soon after. That's why players are scared to stack the zone, but Watson's still alive on the zone.
He does get taken down, though, as you say. That's why players are concerned about stacking the zone, as Revenge Tour just did. But this has been a pretty good round for them overall. It hasn't been one where Ultra Academy EU have been able to landslide the kills in their favor. Far from it, as a matter of fact. Revenge Tour currently hold the lead here at the end with the lives. And 1 tick of progression is all they need. And that's why they're probably going to throw one more set of respawns at this one. Can they get it done? That's the question. Harry up top towards Patio, of course, has Stevo right behind him. Ready for the cover. Stevo has Harry's back. Watson tries a little flank. It doesn't work. But there's players on a lot of point here. And Mythix can only get 1 before falling. Now, can Keza do anything? Can Jackster do anything? Keza picks up 2. Now for Ultra Academy. You need to find a way on the point right now. Jackster with a kill. Watson over towards Church as well. And oh my goodness, Revenge Tour have done it. They're able to win an offensive round. And what a flip here of the situation, of the script. As Ultra Academy, they were up in lives hugely coming into that one. That is not how they expected that defense to go.
No, because especially now it puts the pressure on Ultra Academy U to try to win themselves a defensive round, right? Or an offensive round, excuse me. This has been controls since almost mind-boggling experience since it's first been brought into Call of Duty, that the team that does win an offensive round, especially on such a defensive map, which we do have on both Kavutsu and Tuscan, you're going to be looking at Ultra Academy EU to try to make a play aggressively to try to force their hand. But the problem about it going forward, bro, is that they already exhausted that glide bomb on their previous offense. So it has to be done with gun skill first and foremost. They go 2 for 1 across the A zone. 2 players are tacking on that second ticket progression, so this will go pretty darn quickly. And Furious does end up reading that there's presence over by the middle of the map, but Harry steps off the zone, knowing that they need to zone away over by grass. They will be dealt with. And this is all just a little bit of a bait play. Ultra Academy put in a lot of pressure over by A. They almost got that second tick of progress, but that bait play is now paying dividends as they're trying to sequence down to B.
Yeah, problem is though, Keza in from behind. Keza in from behind. Give him the sweep as well. Why the hell not? Furious, the last remaining player, and I think Furious at the moment just kind of wasting time while the rest of his team tries to do damage. There you go, Keza. Full wipe on towards B. Beautifully done. There's now Revenge Tour really starting to put the pressure on here into this control. Ultra Academy EU. Can they do anything? Jackster able to assist as Watson closes up shop on towards A. Ultra Academy at the moment, they are really struggling to find these openings. Capitalize on it. Furious, though, in from behind. And this is the problem, ultimately. There's always one pesky Ultra Academy EU player that's causing problems.
Yeah, there really is, isn't there? I mean, this is the thing about these players for Ultra Academy EU. They're just always going to be causing a little bit of a ruckus. But Keza causing a little bit of a ruckus of their own on the backside of the truck, keeping that B zone secure for now. This is a 2-2 split as far as an offense is concerned, coming through from Ultra Academy EU, and they're losing numbers, though. Harry picks up a submachine gun, finding value through the middle of the map, but Chaxter finds some timing on the backside of fire, and that is just keeping these players is just kind of weak. They don't have all 4 players here for Ultra Academy EU. The trade game is starting to pay off for Revenge Tour. 27 seconds remaining, but this is when you gotta chalk it. You're throwing a lot of lives at this point. You want to maintain this 3-life lead. Give up the extra 60 seconds. If you can find the kills, that's great, but there's really no need to try to overinvest yourself.
I don't know, because you got the numbers here, right? And this is exactly working out as Revenge Tour are able to utilize those numbers to make sure those players don't go to the point. Now, we need some heroics from the captain. Vortex in from behind, only able to get one. The rest of his squad falling around him. This might be over. Beans loses a crucial one on maps as well. Toronto Ultra Academy EU. How about this from Revenge Tour? They refuse to die, keeping Ultra Academy EU off of that control point. And what a clutch it was from the Revenge Tour roster there, not just in round 3, but round 4 as well. They seem to have kind of stunned Ultra Academy EU in a way.
Yeah, I mean, they finally woken up and answered the aggression with aggression, right? And it's just one of those things, again, that you almost feel like that Revenge Tour were missing in kind on that Bocage Search and Destroy. It was exemplified on the Berlin Hardpoint, but it comes all the way through on the back of those 2 rounds on the Tuscan Control. And I feel like I need to reason myself here, especially for you, Brody, because you're never gonna let me live it down, especially when I was calling that they needed to chalk the zone. Because if they lose that gunfight, if that goes wrong, it was a high-risk, potential for high-reward play, but if they lost that gunfight, it would have been a massive opportunity for Ultra Academy EU to work their way in the backside of Church, get the middle of the map, and then get themselves down over by the B zone. But because they were playing with a certain amount of a gusto, remember, Revenge Tour, it's chalked. They are not making their way into playoffs. They are playing like a team with nothing to lose in that control, and they just ran it down over by that ruin side and found all the gunfights. As you said, Ultra Academy EU were stunned, to say the least, and Revenge Tour walk away with a Tuscan Control win, a potential to play upset, a stain on Ultra Academy EU's record going in towards playoffs, as Mythics, again, goes big for their team, 27-21 with 22 non-traded kills.
Yeah, I feel like we should explain as well to the viewers at home maybe why there were so many body shots coming in from there. We'll talk about that in just a second. I think we're just going to show the map set for you guys at home. First and foremost, I called this as a 3-0. You know, it's stupid old me. I said this was going to be a 3-0. No, Revenge Tour refused to die here in the control on Tuscan. They clutch TF up as they're able to take control. Tuscan 3-1. We will be seeing another Tuscan as we go towards the hard point. I'll be honest, I don't know how this is going to go. Toronto Ultra Academy EU, they are technically the better team in Hardpoint in terms of the map mode record, but we did see an incredible map number 1 performance from really both teams. It was incredibly close. It was 12 points of difference there, as you guys could see. That said, I do want to talk about what we were saying, right? Because we saw the kind of the body shots coming in there quite a bit from Furious, I think from a number of players on Toronto Ultra Academy EU. It isn't just a matter of getting in their head. There's actually a bit of history between these two teams. Because if you remember, going back to Season 1, Revenge Tour then with Denza were the team that knocked these guys out, and there was some nasty words exchanged on Twitter afterwards. It was not a good time. I don't think there's much peace between these two teams.
No, not really. I mean, how much of that animosity is honestly in between just Denza himself? I mean, you had everybody from Revenge Tour really getting into the mix and just kind of having their words at the end of it. But I think you can even extend it that much further for why Furious is also throwing in body shots. Obviously, joining the team for Ultra Academy EU, former Moneyform roster, it did get thwarted by Revenge Tour, but also thwarted by the Originals as well. What was that one team that both kind of thwarted both of those two teams from not only from Moneyform's perspective to make it into playoffs, but for the Originals to make it past that second round of lower bracket play in playoffs? It was this team of Revenge Tour, who again was playing with Denza, and there was some animosity throughout the entirety of that game as well, because Revenge Tour were not nice with the way that they handed that 3-0 against the Originals. They were very, very swift about it, to say the least, and there were some body shots that were also coming through, and I'm sure that those were also being exclaimed on Twitter at the same point in time. This Revenge Tour roster, I love it, man. I love watching all the different back and forth. I love the I guess the villainous role that some teams and players are giving us as far as narratives are concerned, because at the end of the day, we're just fans, we're casters. We love watching all the narratives unfold. It just is a comedic role, to say the least, when it comes down to EU Call of Duty, because we know that everybody wants to win. We know that everybody wants to be able to showcase their ability to be able to take down a top dog like Ultra Academy EU, and I think Revenge Tour might just get themselves a little bit of momentum swing ahead of this fourth map.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's talk about the fourth map, of course, because we did just see it there. We're going back towards Tuscan for this one. Honestly, there is a genuine chance here that Revenge Tour could force a game number 5. Now, we won't talk about how that game number 5 will go just yet, but Revenge Tour here, they are looking to pull off the same kind of performance they had in map number 1, just kind of perfect some of those kind of head-to-head situations where maybe Toronto Ultra Academy EU in those 50-50s were coming out on top. Because I think, fundamentally speaking, what we were seeing from both of the rosters in game number 1, for the most part, was pretty perfect hardpoint. I know we use that phrase a lot, but both of the teams were playing fundamentally very well. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ultra Academy EU, when they were getting themselves set ups, nobody was really overextending when there was about like the 45 to about 25-second margin, but the second that it was down to about 20 or so, that's when Ultra Academy were setting a player on the rotation. Specifically, Vortex was trying to influence rotations from 1 to 2 into 3 as well. The same thing could be said about Harry was playing a very proactive hardpoint. Revenge Tour was really relying on Mythics to be able to make those plays happen. The same thing that Watson was also trying to fundamentally keep intact for Revenge Tour on that Berlin hardpoint. But now we're over towards Tuscan, and your submachine guns have to be on point. Keza and Chaxter need to have a better performance here than they did on the Berlin hardpoint if Revenge Tour want to force a map 5.
Well, it's that first overkill's coming through for Ultra Academy EU. That's not exactly going to be very helpful, is it, to Revenge Tour and their campaign to try and hold on this hard point. Keza, though, almost picks up 2. That would have been a dirty play, but it is stopped short there as he is taken down by Stevo. No matter for Revenge Tour, though. They're right back in the mixer, right back in for this set of time. And for what was a great opening wave of kills coming through for Toronto Ultra Academy EU, they are wiped out pretty quickly here. Revenge Tour now in control for a crucial 20 seconds of scrap time, but make no mistake, Ultra Academy, they're not too upsetty spaghetti about it. They do have control of the rotation.
Yeah, they will be able to maintain that rotation. You can see the close spawn still in effect in the backside of Church, but Watson's actually in a position to try to threaten this. Does end up seeing Harry in the back, and Harry's going to be completely caught off guard, but this is a solo push coming through from Watson. Had no idea that Beans was coming through from back grass. And Harry is right behind them as well. Now it's Mythic's turn. Has a submachine gun, won't get the better of Beans. And as soon as that push gets put to rest, the other push that was coming through from the backside of Patio also gets dealt with. Initial 20 seconds in the back pocket for Ultra Academy EU.
This is a good amount of time coming in here from Ultra Academy EU. Harry going to make sure there that he does hold on to the hill, looking for number 3 with the pistol. This would be nice, and Keza going to shut him down. So Revenge Tour here. The aim for them is just to make sure they belittle Ultra Academy EU as much as possible. Make sure they do not get out of this spawn trap. Furious, though, with a pre-fire. Almost able to take down Watson. Harry now Can he pick up the slack and finish up this hard point by cleaning up the kills? No is the answer, as ChXG going to seek them out and will get them, but need to be careful. The Revenge Tour at the moment. They were spawning on the better side of the map. I don't think that is the case anymore, but Keza wants to flip the situation on its head, does not want to lose this rotation. Those 2 kills most certainly will be helpful. The problem, of course, there is still players in the backline. Harry over here, looking to cause some problems, and causing some problems he will. Nade in his hand, though, kind of gets stuck playing hot potato, and he will lose that gunfight as Keza comes through with 2. It is going to be Revenge Tour after a little bit of tossing and turning that will have control of the heart.
That's my least favorite game, playing hot potato with a live grenade, of course. Never tried it, never really want to. But even still, going in towards P3 is a very hard, or difficult hard point, I should say, to try to break. But I mean, Ultra Academy EU have actually been able to find an entry point all the way through the rooftops. They've done a great job at isolating the south side of the map, and they've been able to get presence over inside top fire. That's going to be player number 5 is Beans up top. Harry with the pistol through vines will cut down Watson, will convey the information that there's at least one more player coming through, but nobody read that the pinch was coming through to the backside of rooftops itself. And Revenge Tour, this is a good time to be hitting from scrap. I was very critical about, I was a huge critic of them, I should say, Brody, going towards Berlin hardpoint, trying to hit for scrap time when it wasn't necessary for them to do so. But that's a big scrap time to be battling over because it keeps Ultra Academy off. And now we go over towards B4 when things can get mixy. Furious almost had a good look at a full feed themselves. Sivo will be right there to at least get the trade, and will buy a lot of space in the middle of the map because you know Revenge Tour is spawning all the way out of Narnia.
Furious just looks scary when the players light up like, right, it's not what you want to see from Revenge Tour, but it doesn't matter anyway. Now they're going to be on this one-handed hit over towards Grass. Furious going to pre-fire through the door here. Nice nade from ChXG through the window and off the wall as Revenge Tour able to find their way on through. It is a kill feed that for the most part will be red. This is a good amount of time. 30 seconds left on this hill that Revenge Tour will want to push themselves over that 100-point mark. Keza gets a little bit of prone block near the wall and eventually will come out on the win in that particular engagement. Can Beans do anything about this time? At least just wants to be a nuisance towards these players. I tell you what, this is a pretty good nuisance. He is Beans as he comes through, does more than enough, picks up the scrap time versus this Revenge Tour roster that have now kind of focused their attention over towards the rotation, and things looking pretty good for Ultra Academy EU. They are the first team over here. Now they need to hold it.
It cannot be understated. That was a big hard point coming through from Ultra Academy EU. The simple fact that they were down by a solid, what, like 40, 50 points. They marginalized that to just be about 20. And I love this position that's coming through from Harry. This almost looks like a 4 SMG setup. Continuously, I haven't really seen an AR since P1 coming out from Ultra Academy EU. And Harry's in a prime spot to deal with everybody that's trying to contest from bottom. They have the head glitch of the stairs. They have the half wall, the half broken wall, I should say. If anybody gets inside P5, a stellar opening 30 seconds, plus some extra coming through from Ultra Academy here on 5.
Want to hold on to this time. Harry able to pick up one. It is now just going to rest on the shoulders of Furious inside. And, well, he does pretty well to get the last 15 seconds of time. They will take the lead away from Revenge Tour on what was a pivotal moment in the game for Ultra Academy EU. Starting to get flashbacks of what happened in map number 1. If you remember that, Revenge Tour, you know, they came back into the game. Now it's Ultra Academy who are able to get it done with a full hold off the back of that hill. Now we turn our attention over towards the next set. It will be Revenge Tour that are able to touch this first. Ultra Academy going to be spawning up over towards that grass side. Keep an eye on number 5, though. That is going to be Beans, who could cause some problems here. And he does end up getting that first kill. ChXG inside will have quite a lot to do. But as I say, I mean, look at the kill feed. Revenge Tour, they're eating right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of red. ChXG finds themselves on a 4. Information won't be about full through the middle of the map. So ChXG's going to take this as an opportunity to enable themselves. Nades are going to be caught in the hands. Had a good look at Harry, but Harry goes prone. Is able to find 2, actually, before Mythics actually finds a 2 of their own. Now it's up to Beans to try to extend this play over by 1. This is still a good 20 seconds to be battling over. 1, because Ultra Academy EU can keep Revenge Tour at bay, spawning in for 3, essentially. You can see the setup for Ultra Academy EU, not wanting to give up through the middle of the map for free, but they did lose Harry up top church, which means that Mythics can work their way into the backside of this P1 hill, and Beans is going to be completely bamboozled by all of this. But the issue is, they hit it for scrap time. They have to hit through P1. Most importantly, they have to break into 2 early.
Oh, Revenge Tour, they do want to do this. ChXG going to start to cook up this nade here. Can he get a 5-star review on it? Apparently not. It just bounces off the wall and does absolutely nothing, but it doesn't matter anyways in the kill feed. ChXG picks up 2 with the MP40. Now Mythics up top in radio. fun and a pretty good signal as well, as Revenge Tour are looking to get control of this hard point. They're able to get a few seconds off it. They're fighting this one from the front, and again, it's the scary situation that Ultra Academy find themselves in, isn't it, Andy? Because they continue to spawn here. If they keep button heads at this hill and not win these gunfights, they could find themselves in a world of pain.
They absolutely could. I mean, this could spiral out of control for either of these two teams. The Ultra Academy still have the closer spawns on the backside of the two, so Revenge Tour can actually enforce a little bit of a spawn trap for itself. You just got to be careful with how far forward you push. You can see that Mythics actually just spawn in the middle of the map. They're going to completely concede the space. Back all the way up, make sure that P3 becomes a money hill. But Ultra Academy EU have done a great job of just reintroducing themselves back into P2 and making sure that they don't actually get caught in the spawn trap. Middle of the map pressure will be cut short by Chaxter, but an opportunity doesn't present itself early like it did for Ultra Academy EU in the first set to try to break into P3 early.
Watson has quite a lot to do here by Furious, and Harry's starting to chase him down on the rooftop. Starting to feel like a scene from Fast and Furious 5, as those players now going to take them down. It is just now Mythics on the wards to this point. Shaxter isn't far away, but Mythics just needs to waste time, and he can't do it. Look at the break from Ultra Academy EU. When you need these guys to step up to the plate, they do exactly that and then some. Ultra Academy EU have an opportunity to get back into this game, to take the lead once again from Revenge Tour, but it is the Revenge Tour roster trying to find their way in from Vines. Ultra Academy EU wipe them out. 15 seconds left. This is scrap time that should go the boys in purple's way. Now Revenge Tour, they've made their way over towards celebration, but keep an eye on those Ultra Academy EU players, Andy. They're going to come from the church side once again.
Yeah, you got one player working their way up through the B ramp. You also have presence going in through bunks. That's going to be Beans. They're actually going to drop all the way down and try to push them through the side door. One by one, they actually worked back through in, and Chaxter found both of them off screen. Mythics is just sitting here watching all the play happen on the backside of church, but the play is still existing inside the hardpoint itself. And this is a really good hardpoint for Chaxter, the last go of things. They'll find themselves number 3, gets read that there's a player over inside the church alley. That'll be immediately communicated, and Harry will not be allowed to work their way in the backside. But the biggest issue is that you still have Furious back here. I think they actually spawn back down by the column, and that'll actually be the case. But Chaxter, you still got to deal with the raid boss inside of church. It is his church itself, as Chaxter finds number 5. Will be cut down inside the hard point, but reinforcements are right around the corner.
This is just so back and forth between these two teams at the moment, isn't it, Andy? Every single bit of scrap time will make the difference in the end. Keza fighting tooth and nail for it, and he will get that kill against Furious. Now Revenge Tour in for a crucial 10 seconds of time. Ultra Academy EU, they want to have a good hold on this, just like they did last time around. Can they get it done? Beans has pushed pretty far up towards the patio side, by the way. He is in a position, I think Mythics does actually end up expecting it. Of course, now Keza, can he do anything about this one as well? Keep an eye on Chaxter, who has got a bit of a rogue spawn. I don't think Ultra Academy EU expected it, but it doesn't matter if you expect it. He gets dealt with anyway. Ultra Academy EU, they deal with the first wave of gunfight, and that is objective number 1 done, but your job is far from over.
And you remember Ultra Academy EU through the first set, bro, he actually walked away with about, what, 40 seconds here on P5. Their setup here on 5 is a big one, and it was because of this position right here. Chaxter just waiting for the challenge on the bottom side of the staircase. Does find 2, but the nades are still coming in. Stevo's able to at least clean up Keza. This is going to keep this hardpoint contested for a little while longer. Team kills, trades, everything else in between is actually favorable for Revenge Tour, but we're down to 15 seconds. And you can see what Ultra Academy EU are trying to set themselves up for. Harry's got a sub, is going to hit it for the scrap time, maybe just try to dwindle down the numbers, while the rest of the team in purple are just rotating up towards P1.
This is a big rotation here. Furious able to draw that first blood. Ultra Academy, they will touch first on this new set, but they've got to hold for quite a lot of time. Revenge Tour, they only need 18 seconds in this game. One break might well do it, depending on where Ultra Academy you spawn up off the back of it, and that's where Revenge Tour, they're taking their time here. They know they've got to. Watson and Chaxter combining for 2. Can Furious hold on? No, he cannot. Harry, you need to go big, buddy. You can't do it. Revenge Tour, they're in. Where do Ultra Academy EU spawn? One player over towards the right side of the map, but the rest on Vines. Can they swing their way into the hill in time? Yes, they can. 2 seconds away from victory are Revenge Tour. The wave of gunfights coming in. Steve-O removed from the hill. Beans as well. And Revenge Tour send us to a game 5.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, indeed. Revenge Tour are playing with the momentum, Brody. They are slaying TF out, man. This is a different look of Revenge Tour than we have seen all EU Challengers Elite Season 2 long. Chaxter 34-24 Who is this guy? I know that he has it in him to be able to slay out like this, and we were gassing up Keza to almost replace Denza in that slay-heavy role, but Chaxer is the direct replacement for Denza when Denza went ahead and created the Vengeance roster with Maple and co. And Keza had kind of got put in a very interesting point in time that they had to almost play an objective state of mind. Watson goes 25 and 22. Mythic's the slayer for this team who dropped, what was it, like 45 kills on the Berlin hardpoint, only goes 24 and 31. But nobody from Ultra Academy went absolutely Goliath like what we saw from the Berlin hardpoint or from the Bokosh Search and Destroy. Stevo 21 and 32 was almost a non-benefactor in a lot of these breaks. Every single time that Revenge Tour were actually putting themselves in a position to be able to play for the spawns and were able to reinforce hills continuously, they were also proactively making sure that they were finding themselves in power positions while rotating to each one of these hills. That is the big stark difference in between Berlin and Tuscan Hardpoint. You have so many more corners to where you can catch Ultra Academy by surprise when they're trying to play a fundamental style of Hardpoint, catching them on the rotation and making sure that their numbers are always dwindled.
Yeah, mate, look, this is just insane. This best of 5 has gone from Ultra Academy EU doing near enough what we expected with a 2-0 start. Of course, the map number 1, we didn't really know how it would go, to Revenge Tour digging deep and somehow finding their way back into the series. They forced the Tuscan trilogy, as Miles would say. We're going towards a map number 5 here, Search and Destroy on Tuscan. I will take a moment here before we talk about the game number 5, though, to talk about what is going on elsewhere right now. Of course, we're not the only broadcast that's going on right now for Elite Challengers. There is a game number 3 going on between Sukri's Bakery and Doge Nation. Now, you and I, at the very top of this broadcast, said, we'll be honest, we want you to stay here and watch Ultra Academy EU and Revenge Tour. We want us to, you just stay with us, our beautiful faces. But that match right now is insane. And the reason we say it is that match basically decides who gets the 4th and final spot alongside Rocker Academy, Vengeance, and Toronto Ultra Academy EU in playoffs. Doge Nation are 2-0 up against Sukri's Bakery, Andy. They're 1-0 up. I've got it on my phone right now. They're 1-0 up in the control. We could well see a major upset into playoffs for that 4th and final spot, mate. I would be mind blown. I don't know what I would do.
You know, I mean, look, and it's on control, so you would almost assume that maybe Sukri's Bakery would have an edge on that, but remember, this isn't the same Sukri's Bakery that were undefeated until their final control that was played versus the originals in Season 1 of playoffs. They only lost a single control map on that Tuscan control in losers round 1 of the playoff bracket is where they finally whimpered out and lost that control versus the originals to be knocked out at 4th place. But I think even more so than that, it's going to be a very interesting narrative, to say the least, that if Sukri's Bakery does not bounce back, they have to reverse sweep. They almost have to do what Revenge Tour are currently doing in our best of 5 series here, Brody, versus the Ultra Academy EU roster, and try to almost go for broke and just try to slay the heck out to try to at least, strong hand this Doge Nation roster.
It's crazy, isn't it? And if you guys do want to see the conclusion of that match, again, we prefer that you stayed here to stay with us. Of course, we're lonely men sometimes. But nonetheless, if you guys do want to watch the end of that matchup, it's youtube.com/COD Challenges. Make sure you subscribe to that channel anyway. If you're not, clearly you don't care about challenges enough. But we want you to, because Challenges is amazing. And right now, Doge Nation and Sukri's Bakery are showing us why, as are, to be fair, Ultra Academy EU and Revenge Tour, Andy. Because this game, I mean, look, again, we should have probably established that at the end of the day, chips on the table, there isn't really much in the way of stakes in terms of final placement for this league, for this stage of Challenges Elite for Europe. However, I think in terms of, hey, Revenge Tour taking on Ultra Academy EU, there's kind of those stakes as to how Season 1 ended, where, Watson putting the extra bullets in his body with the words being exchanged on Twitter that Ultra Academy EU, they want to win this, and Revenge Tour, I think they want it as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation point going forward, that even though Revenge Tour won't be able to be a playoff caliber team in this season, they're going to be at least be holding their heads high, because, I mean, you have really bad VOD to go back and try to learn from at the beginning of this season, and then you also have this VOD to be able to go back and look at what did we do right. And I think when you are looking at big star comparisons, it's that going for broke plays is that they are not hesitating anymore, Brody, that they are quite literally flying at the enemy team, and they're doing it as a 4-player roster that is, again, clearing each other's corners back-to-back at a lot of different instances to where they are clearing out a lot of different power positions. And Tuscan has been looking very, very good for them so far, not only on the control, but also on the hard point, to know where a lot of these known positions could potentially be at, conveying the information to one another. Their biggest problem when you go back to that Bocage Search and Destroy was the simple fact that all of Ultra Academy EU were just playing the information trade game, and they were able to walk away with all that information and turn that into sufficient amount of kills as well. But I think going into the Tuscan Search and Destroy, to where this Revenge Tour roster is not only playing with a certain amount of momentum ahead of steam, they are also looking pretty darn adept on the map itself. It's just about converting everything that we just saw in between the control and the hard point, and try to use that as a boon of success going into this map 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just to give you a little quick update on what is happening in that Doge Nation versus, I'm watching it right now. I can't even lie to you, Andy. I got it on my
they're up
my
2-0,
third
man.
monitor.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Doge Nation, they're up 2-0 on that Tuscan control as well, which obviously, as you probably, the implication there is the fact they've won an offense. It is insane to think about what is going on right now. The implications for that match, of course, being the fourth and final spot. But again, back to this match, of course, we're ready for the game 5 near enough. I presume the players are just kind of talking about some small things. I could probably check it actually to see what is going on, what's the hold up here with this game number 5, but it will be Tuscan Search and Destroy. I think, specifically relating to this one, Andy, it is kind of weird in a way, isn't it, looking at this, because while this has been a reverse sweep potentially on the card here for Revenge Tour, the first Search and Destroy in the series was pretty heavily in favor of Ultra Academy.
Look, the way that I ended up coining it, walking away from that Bocage Search and Destroy, and even from the Berlin Hardpoint, is that this Ultra Academy EU roster, throughout the entirety of Season 2, ever since picking up Furious in lieu of dropping Wee Man, is that when they are loading into a Search and Destroy round, as I'm sure every single amateur and pro team do, is that they're talking about what they want to do through the opening rip. And they execute all of these different plays through and through, and it's working out so well for them, even when they're finding themselves in 2v2s, and even when they're finding themselves in numbers disadvantages, because I want to say maybe like 3, if not 4 of those rounds that they did win in that 6-2 win on the Bocage Search and Destroy was actually done from a 3v4 standpoint, that they were very, very quick to be able to pick up on the information and be able to find these trades. Obviously, comparing Bocage to Tuscan, it's apples and oranges here, brother. So, I mean, like, it's not necessarily going to be in an immediate position to be able to find these trades, but if they are constantly being so heavily committed towards all these plays and executing them to such a high degree, I think that this Revenge Tour roster is going to continue to have almost a very difficult time against this Ultra Academy EU roster on Search and Destroy. I think that everybody in EU right now is going to continue to have a tough time versus this Ultra Academy EU roster on Search and Destroy, which is how definitive they are across round to round.
Yeah, and what we were talking about, by the way, in regard to sort of earlier on with the sniper rifle of Harry, yeah, that's
in play now.
Be negated. That's in play now.
Yeah.
So that sort of cross over towards the A bomb site, it's something that we're going to need to talk about. We're going to need to see Revenge Tour put out a sniper rifle of their own. I'm pretty sure one of Watson or Mythics will be the player carrying that sniper rifle to make sure they negate Harry, but it's going to be tough because, again, we talk about that stat line, that first blood win percentage. Again, out of the 11 engagements that Harry has taken for First Blood in Search and Destroy this season so far, he has won every single one. That man is flawless, and especially considering it's like a 1.95 as well in Search and Destroy, he is the player that Revenge Tour need to hunt down. However, I'm going to go back again to the other series that's going on right now. I know you want me to, Andy, because it's very important to talk about. We have our 4th team. I don't know what's going on. Doge Nation, they are through. They 3-0 Sucre's Bakery. They've already won the head-to-head versus Revenge Tour and Cilio Sign. So no matter what happens in any way, 3-way tie or 4-way tie, they are going through. Andy, mate, what on earth is going on? Challenges is just nuts.
You know how I feel about this team of Sucre's Bakery. I'm a big fan of this team ever since they were the ex-Mavericks roster going back to the Cold War season when I first found them as well. I think that it's just one of those things that when it comes down to Sucre's Bakery, they're definitely going to be kicking themselves for a lot of their earlier stage matches to even be in a position like this. Because keep in mind, they lost to this Revenge Tour roster in a map 5 burner. That was their very first match. They lost to Rocker Academy. That was probably going to be a guarantee, and then losing to Vengeance as well. But it was that one loss versus Revenge Tour in a map 5 burner that I'm sure that if they were able to win that map number 2 of that Search and Destroy, I believe was actually on Tuscan, funny enough, They probably would have been able to put themselves in a position to not even have a consideration versus Doge Nation, where they would have had a very nice series differential versus it, and maybe a certain amount of confidence going into it, to say the least. But enough speculation. We are loading into this Tuscan Search and Destroy, and you can tell my talking points one after another. Revenge Tour going to be feeling pretty darn comfortable on this map mode. A lot of set nades to be able to come all the way through. Will dissuade Stevo from planting that bomb early, but will not stop Furious from getting that first blood.
Oh dear. Watson and Mythics now. 2 versus 3. And make it a 2 versus 2, to be fair. Watson going to actually draw that blood versus Stevo here. Now trades potentially going down. It's going to be Harry. Going to be picking up the kill versus Watson. And now for Mythics, 1 versus 2. The bomb now going to be going down for Beans. Can Watson do anything about this one? The shot's now coming in. And Mythics will actually get the first blood against Harry. So now 1v1 we go between Mythics and Beans. Mythics up top in church. Beans just going to be waiting patiently on the statue.
Just got to keep checking the bomb. 28 seconds. He can just continue to play his life over here. Think about all the corners that young Mythics has to check. Clearing away fire right now. Beans just needs to always just go back and check the bomb. Sometime he might be coming around the corner, though, on the opposite side of you, and Mythics won't get the better of Beans. Ample time to get the defuse. You just need 7.5 seconds. That was wonderfully played out from Mythics. They cleared out the clutch spot, Brody, and they came back through vines.
Woo! That's round number 1. I'm excited for the rest of this Search and Destroy, Andy. This has just been incredible between these two teams. Mythics going to draw first blood here. Oh, dearie me.
Found 3 in that round, too. That's big within its own self, even for streak implications down the line. Because remember that Mythics typically does play this automaton role as you're seeing them load into this round. Typically will be at least chowing through the middle on that Zig head box, if not over by P1. Seems that they're actually going to take this as a chance to go up top fire and see what they can find mid-map.
Beans has made his way over towards that side, and Watson snipes Beans out. I believe actually Beans has carried the sniper here, which is actually pretty important for this map. Watson going to draw first blood in this round, though. Keza with another one here onto Vortex, looking for the kill onto Furious. And Furious, at the very least, will be able to weigh this round somewhat back in favor of Ultra Academy EU, but it doesn't really matter now. 1v3 for Furious. If I'm Furious in this situation, I'm just not feeding anything else. There's no point. I think you're kind of well aware of the fact that Revenge Tour start has been more than fruitful. And, well, there you go.
All comes through with that snipe off, and it is very interesting to converse about the overall difference in Harry sniping versus Bean sniping. You know, when we see this Ultra Academy EU roster play on a map like Desert Siege or Berlin, yeah, Harry is typically running that sniper role, but now again, Beans, when Weeman was actually still playing on this team, you remember Beans was still sniping for this team of Ultra Academy U when they were playing underneath the moniker of Money for him. So it's not by surprise if you ever wonder why Beans is sniping on one map versus Harry sniping on the other. It's just the difference of the play and what Ultra Academy U are going to be looking for. 3-player stack defensively down towards B for Revenge Tour. Almost expecting him to go for broke play, but they're just trying to overwhelm Furious inside of maps, but they will be overwhelmed themselves. Feed one by one, and Furious will collect them all.
Now Mythics, the last remaining player here, after Furious' antics, and this is a very awkward position, isn't it, for Mythics? Because ideally, he wants to try and stay alive for these streaks, right? But it's tough in a 1 versus 4. Because normally in this situation, you're like, right, I'm not going to feed. I'm not even going to let the points go through from the bottom. I'm just going to get off the map. But now Mythics just wants to get himself to a pretty safe position. Furious might get caught with his pants down here from Mythics. I don't even know if you shoot if you're Mythics in this position. Like, do you even bother? Because if you shoot, these players will come down on you like a ton of bricks.
Just got to play your life back here. No.
They're searching.
Oh, he first. He's on 5. They're going to try to double challenge him out from grass. He's got an audible taunt. Can't even find them first. Woo! Yeah, the search party was on for sure. They knew Mythics was on that spree. But I gotta say, man, I'm feeling some type of way. You triple chowed Furious. Not even, like, synchronized swimmers do a better job than what I just saw off that triple chow. Everybody just lined up for Furious. And we talked about it on that Tuscan Control. Furious almost did the same exact thing when we were playing Control just a few moments ago, Brody, where 3 players were chowing out from maps, and Furious cleaned up all 3, because why? They lined up, and nobody could find the trade. Maybe some bullets going in the back, but I digress. Round 4, Harry finds first blood. 100% first blood ratio when they do find themselves in that opening engagement.
Yeah, there you go. It was that 100% remains here. That says 12 first blood in Season 1 of EU Challenges. Beans going to make things worse, isn't it? As now Mythics in a 1 versus 4 for the second round in a row. This time around doesn't have the pressure of potential streaks weighing down upon him. So the 1 versus 4, if anything, is just a bonus. At the very least, he's still able to get 2 kills. You remember that Mythics 1v4? Season 1?
I do. He can do it. I was on a boat cache, though.
Yeah, it was. It was. Very different. Yeah, look, mate, come on. Stop crushing my dream. Why are you the way that you are?
You know what? I don't know. I'm just programmed this way. I didn't load the Optimism CD-ROM this morning, excuse me. 28 seconds remaining, though. Got to recover this bomb, and step 1 of the multi-step process will be coming through. And the way that Ultra Academy are actually playing this, they're playing for the retake and misses the timing up top. And I don't think Stevo saw Mythics either. Has to clear top radio first and foremost. Not have enough time, truly, you would think. Has to clear out all these angles. He's actually buying time for Stevo to come back down over by the staircase and gave himself a pretty good look to be able to find that kill. Just did not end up coming through. Ultra Academy answered back with 2 rounds of their own.
I think just a little bit uncertain of himself there, Mythics. Somewhat indecisive comparatively to the 1v4 he managed to pull off in Season 1. Of course, as you rightly said, and ruined my day, Andy. It was a Bacage. It wasn't a Tuscan. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's got to clear radio, and he has to clear P5,
it's
right?
True.
Because he spent all that time recovering the bomb inside a church. Nobody chowed him, so you would almost
they heard
assume
that as well, right?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's a silent pickup in custom lobbies, but I might be wrong. Anyway, round 5. First blood. Furious is able to clean up Watson. That's actually over by Bunks. The trade will come through. Bomb goes down because of it.
Now, 3 for 3 we go. Keza just going to try and bait out Harry. Oh, Harry! Oh, and has the back of his team. Look at Keza. He runs right into the Hornet's nest there. But look at Jackster. Jackster's on the defuse. Somebody has to check the bomb. Jackster gets the defuse. Ultra Academy spent so long dealing with Keza, they didn't think to check the bomb. How'd you get away with that?
And you want to talk about clutches from Mythics and what they did even going back to playoffs, Brody? How about Jackster on this map? Does have a 1v3 under their belt to be able to win the entirety of the map when they were playing on their former roster just last season. And an ace to boot. I remember that very, very vividly. It's just such a gut check call coming through from Revenge Shore. There was so much pressure. So it's so much back and forth happening. And the post plant was red, that there was everybody essentially on the backside of P3 inside of fire. The Revenge Shore had them busy, and Jackster just hops it. There's nobody. Nobody was there to stop him. No nades. Nada. Into round for 6 we go. Keza will find that first blood. That's on to Stevo. And on an offensive push coming away from Revenge Shore, they're actually not feeling safe enough with the bomb plant going down quite yet. Keza is buying themselves so much more space inside of church before it's come through.
Oh, Keza! Oh, sometimes you got enough bullets for the kill, sometimes you don't. It's just the way it goes. 30 seconds on the clock now, though, for Jackster and Watson. Oh, Furious! That's a call and a half, isn't it? There's now Watson left up, 1v2. These players want to get the bomb down on A, and you can see Furious with the push up towards the top. But no, Watson has to defend this bomb. Can he get it done? Oh, the kills! No! No! Watson! You've got to finish the kill! No!
No, I know you can't see me. My head just immediately just came and fell into my hands.
I'm out. That's
SMH,
it.
My head. You'll see it right here again. 46 HP. I mean, 2 bullets for the Rat Pistol would have been good enough, but I mean, Furious did have the MP40, but finding those 3 kills in the round had the hell of a read on top well, looking up towards rooftops. And then catches Watson lacking on the mid-truck. Went 2 rounds for 2 rounds. Now we go back-to-back, round for round. Defense for defense now. Ultra Academy going to roll out here. Again, another slow roll offense. Furious is going to be this island player over by the well. They're actually going to take this as an opportunity to put themselves in the spot. Here's the set nade. Find anything off of that. That lands on the backside of grass. But Revenge Shore, the way that they're playing, essentially giving the offense of Ultra Academy absolutely nothing.
Both teams know how important this round is. Don't want to give anything away. Ultra Academy, though, they already technically speaking have. Beans has fallen out of the round. Watson's still got eyes, by the way, Steve-O. You peek out a little bit too far. You are dead. And I think actually Steve-O will be fortunate enough to be peeking out. He gets the information as to where Watson is. Now feels comfortable enough to make the move up. This is a big kill, making sure that Watson doesn't get away. Oh, Watson! Oh, he does! And even worse now, Kezra's got the kill on a Furious. Steve-O gonna fall. It's Harry left up in a 1 versus 4. No amount of wizardry is gonna save you there. Revenge Tour. Oh, by the skin of their teeth. They go up once again.
Bloodbath. This is absolutely a circus. The potential for a reverse sweep for Revenge Tour. And you just have to respect with the amount of discipline that Revenge Tour are having in the search and destroy. Not to absolutely just run and gun through the middle of the map because they know that Ultra Academy are playing against the information. Furious is at 10 and 6. Watson still holding onto the sniper. You can see Beans flirting with the idea to end up trying to play for the scope. At the moment that Watson tried to reposition themselves, Beans were up with their head clean off.
Jackster going to get the bomb down. So at least they've got that going for them. It's technically their 4th man on the map. Oh, Furious again. Oh. What is it today with these people not finishing their kills? Furious is going to do it through the wall, though. And now Keza in a 1 versus 3. The big problem, of course, is they know exactly where he is. Oh, no! No! Oh, finally they take down Keza. Oh, mate.
Wow. I mean,
I'm
Beans
gonna have
misses
a heart attack. I don't know what's...
I don't even know if my heart is still beating right now. I don't even know if my heart is still beating at this point. It keeps stopping during all these clutch potentials. I mean, Keza, first of all, had no business being able to get the better of the player lurking in the corner, let alone Beans misses just a bit outside with their sniper shot. It's just a heads-up play coming through from Harry. The moment that information beast comes conveyed for Ultra Academy where Keza is located at, Harry makes the play, makes the climb, finds the hip fire mid-mantle to be able to take down Keza, who was weak from the previous engagement, but there was a very real world where Keza is able to play their life a little bit longer if Harry was in the immediate position to be able to get that trade the way that they did. Round number 9. Watson for first blood. Will take down Harry. Changing up their position. Watson has an AR this time. Does find 2. Stops the bomb from going down.
Good adaptation coming in from Watson to get these kills. Revenge Tour. Want to win this round. It's Beans left up in a 1 versus 4. And just like Keza in the last, they know where Beans is. So he gets the first kill. Mate, I don't know if I can take this, honestly. I can't. It's okay. Don't worry about it, Beans. He's got 45 seconds on the clock here, Andy, to do something.
Bomb's going to get recovered. There's a player that is going to be immediately to their left inside of bunks. And, I mean, that's such a hard call at that point if you are Beans. I mean, surely you had time to maybe wrap all the way over towards P5 being overcritical. And I am absolutely being. But you can see from Kez's perspective, he's a little groundhog of Beans. Says, hey, man, how you doing? Thanks for the round. And that, again, was a beautiful adaptation coming through. Watson's been sniping for what? Like the past, 4, maybe 5 rounds of play?
Mm-hmm.
Immediately puts it away for the automaton and puts himself up top church, top nest, if you will, and immediately just not only finds the first up top fire, but then immediately stops the bomb from going down for Vortex, which was trying to plant for that fire position. Now Watson again with the automaton, long-range shots. Looks like Beans also has an automaton in play, but the most important part is that Watson takes out Vortex and gets away with his life.
Ultra Academy, EU, down a man. Vortex, we will see you in around 11 if we see you again at all in this S&D. Watson, playing this one slow. Revenge Tour know that they still, technically speaking, need to get the bomb down, and they're waiting for Ultra Academy U to get overzealous. Player that will do so, if anybody, is going to be Furious. But Beans does end up falling. Furious, there you go. The kill onto Chaxter will make this situation manageable, Andy.
2v3, and the most important part is that bomb is dropped smack dab in the middle of the map. The only issue is Ultra Academy don't have that information, so Mythics will collect it. We'll try to plant over at A. But you still have a player in that clutch spot. That's going to be Harry. Now it's Furious. 1v3 to try to stay alive in the search.
And they know where he is. Furious, can he play his life? Trying to win the 1v1 against Watson. He doesn't win it. Revenge Tour. They come out on top. A reverse sweep here. And, well, they're going home, but they're going out with a bang. Ultra Academy EU, even now, once again, faced in near enough the exact same situation, qualified or not, still unable to get the better of this Revenge Tour roster.
Wow. Bring out the brooms, Brody. Bring out the broom sport. It's a reverse sweep. I mean, it's tippable coming out from Revenge Tour. Look, you and I, when we look at these players from top to bottom, may not have had the greatest outcome that they wanted at the end of Season 1 going into Season 2. They wanted to be Season 1 champions. They lose Denza, the heart and the soul of the Revenge Tour namesake, and it kind of leaves big shoes to fill. I mean, even Chaxter 2-6, about 430 damage was almost a non-benefactor. They were mostly just conveying the information. Keza goes big, 9-7, had a big Tuscan hardpoint, big moments in the control as well, but you gotta tip your hat to the kid of Mythics. Again, I've been really hot on this guy ever since he first bounced into the scene just last year during Cold War, Brody, and it has just been one of those things that I always knew he had it in him to be that slay factor for whatever team that he is on. Was doing the majority of it with the Automaton, picks up that submachine gun, and then absolutely goes to work. The only round that was truly questionable was when you had a triple chow go inside top P5, and Furious guns all three of them down. That was probably the most zany round out of every single one of them. Yeah, we had a lot of instances where players were not cleaning up their eliminations, sure. But at the same time, Revenge Tour played a fundamentally sound search and destroy. You can see it in this best of 5 series, the reverse sweep in full effect, but I think you just got to look at this Revenge Tour roster and say they just played a better back 3 maps. They truly did.
Absolutely, and that's going to be a blotch, really, on the record, isn't it, for Toronto Ultra Academy EU? You know, I don't know where they currently stand in terms of search and destroy after that one. I think they finished 7-3 overall, but nonetheless, just beautifully played reverse sweep for Revenge Tour. You can see it here in our final map set. You know, arguably it could have been done in 4 as well, right? You considering how close that first map was. It was only a good hold in P1 that gave Toronto Ultra Academy EU the victory. But in the end, Revenge Tour, it's all for naught because they will be going home anyway. But as we said, at the very least, they did it in a positive manner. We're taking a look at our final standings here, Andy. Vengeance, Rocker Academy, Ultra Academy EU, and Doge Nation will be going through to playoffs. It's a 4-way tie that decides it in the end. I'm glad you and I did our permutations last night, mate, because we would have had no idea what was going on until Sports showed us this graphic.
Man. That's actually crazy. I'm still just simply mind blown that Doge Nation 3-0 Sucre's Bakery, and that's not to knock on the ability of that Doge Nation roster. I'm very, very keen on that roster to be able to be successful, especially when you're thinking of the likes of what Abuser was able to do last year. And I know you're a big BB Connor fan. Henry and Whalers have always been namesakes when it comes down to some of the best in European Call of Duty, but even still, Sucre's Bakery, I mean, that's going to be going back to the immediate drawing board. You know, they bow out at 4 through Season 1. They won't even be in playoffs. They get relegated. They have to go through the gauntlet of the complete qualifier for Season 3 when that finally comes around. But to miss out on playoffs for Sucre's Bakery, that's massive within its own self. I don't even know if you do a roster swap at that point. I'm not a coach. I'm just here for a good time, sometimes a long time, Brody. But this Revenge Tour roster, I think going forward, you have a lot to look forward to. Ultra Academy EU, you have a lot to work on, especially when it comes down to the back 3 of your map set when it's a best of 5, especially when it comes down to a Tuscan, because you and I were going back and forth constantly when it came down to Toronto Ultra Academy. Tuscan should have been a good one. They only had that round 5 loss to Rocker Academy. They are now 2-1 on Tuscan Control, now losing to Revenge Tour. And on Tuscan Hardpoint, I mean, we can call a spade here. It was probably one of their weaker ones, especially that they walked into today 1-2. But their overall differential was that they were only losing maybe about like 28 points or so. So they were always close. But I think that you got to be going back if you're Ultra Academy EU and maybe just try to stay away from Tuscan. But I don't even know what the rest of their map set truly looks like off the back of my head, Brody, because this Ultra Academy EU roster is nasty. They are a top contender. They just walked away as a Cup number 7 champion. But now you have a week's worth of practice to be able to make sure that you do have what it takes to be a elite Season 2 champion.
Yeah, absolutely right. You know, they definitely have to go back to the drawing board here, I think, and put some work in. That said, I don't want to put too much emphasis on this last match because I think, albeit they did want to win it, ultimately they already knew that they were through. So it's kind of like the stakes were a little bit lessened, and I think they won't be too upset with the boss, even though they probably did want it. So nonetheless, Revenge Tour, they go out with a bang. They're not going to be moving on though to playoffs. Toronto Ultra Academy EU they will be doing so alongside Doge Nation, shockingly, which I think is just going to be the story. I cannot wait to see what they are going to be able to do alongside also, of course, Rocker Academy and the Vengeance team. Playoffs, mate, it is stacked as always, and Europe is just going to be amazing. Watching Europe throw down for the lion's share of $50,000 is going to be great. I can't wait for it. That's, of course, going to be next Tuesday. But we're not done today. Not at all. We've got North America still to come. I believe that's going to be in about an hour and a half or so, maybe 2 hours and a half. I'm not entirely sure
Hour and a half.
when it's going to start. Hour and a half. See, look, mate, I knew it. It's the time zone difference. It's because you guys have gone to daylight savings time now. It's messed me up. But anyway, an hour and a half. That is when that is going to be. So make sure you stay here because I believe we've got Enigma. I'm not too sure who's going to be joining him for the cast. I know he's going to be here. I know we're going to have North American matches casters. It's going to be awesome. As Andy, everything over there, mate. It's insane. It's a bloodbath. I don't know what's going on. I don't think either of us really know. I know you put in a lot of work to working out the permutations, but I couldn't decipher it, mate.
I know what the potential outcome might honestly be. I know that there's 2 teams that are guaranteed, 2 teams that can't make it in. But those 4 teams, you have whatever it takes tied are up at 3-3. Then you have a 3-way tie at 2-3 right now. That depending on the way that the matches play out. I mean, Infamous Esports Toronto Ultra Academy NA is going to be the big matchup for me to be looked at, Brody. But I mean, even still, nobody is safe when it comes down to North America. It is going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out because the head-to-head, specifically that Stallions versus whatever it takes matchup, all eyes are going to be on that one for me personally to be able to see if whatever it takes either go in as the 3rd or the 4th seed or if Stallions just play upset to everybody else this evening.
All right, well, we're going to be moving away from beans on toast towards biscuits and gravy. Word to ton. We'll be back for North America very soon.